Chapter 362. With a click, the originally light and thin carp seemed to be infused with a soul in an instant. A faint white smoke wrapped in a domineering smell swept through the entire kitchen and the live broadcast room, shocking everyone. After the familiar few seconds of silence, a series of rumors emerged one after another, densely packed and stacked on top of each other. If not, they would almost cover Su Yiyan's face. This fish is amazing. I'm crying while eating. This fish is so delicious. It's fragrant and tender. Every time I watch the host cook fish, I have an inexplicable feeling of being in a trance. It's obviously the same fish and the same cooking method. Why is it that the fish I cook is not as delicious as the host's? What I lack is this fish in these hands. What I lack is the host. I really didn't expect a fish to be cooked in so many different ways. The previous braised fish was more fresh and fragrant, but this one is different. The outside is charred and crispy, but the inside is very sweet, fresh and tender. It also has a sweet taste. It should be because of the Gastrodia alata. All in all, it's not fishy at all. It's not greasy at all. I worship the boss above. He completely described the essence of this dish. After eating for a long time, I can only squeeze out two words: delicious. Su Yiyan took the fish to the side and stirred the porridge. The essence of the lamb bones had been completely integrated into the soup and seeped into the rice through the soup. It smelled quite tempting and made people want to eat it. In addition, the black chicken soup with cooked yam was almost ready. Su Yiyan scooped some out and put it next to the fish, preparing to take it out together later. After the fish, soup and porridge were all out of the pot, Su Yiyan fished out the eggs that were almost cooked from the soup. At this time, the sesame seaweed cake was almost ready. The dough that had swelled due to the heat became transparent and soft, like a piece of jelly, crystal clear. Su Yiyan quickly carved a few pink flowers with radishes and put them on the edge of the snow-white plate, matching a few small square pieces of sesame seaweed cake in the center. It didn't look like a plate of dessert, but more like a work of art. Many people were reluctant to eat it. Many girls took a liking to this pastry at first glance. They rubbed their small hands and secretly prayed that they would be chosen. After finishing all the dishes in one go, Su Yiyan breathed a sigh of relief. She picked up a white towel and wiped her hands, saying, "The dishes are all done. As usual, I can't send the fish. As for the other dishes, I'll pick a lucky audience member to send them. Those who didn't get selected, don't be sad. The dishes in today's live broadcast will be available in the restaurant one after another. Those who like them can make a reservation in advance." Su Yiyan's words did not comfort those suffering bald men. Not to mention that there were always some of them who were not in a city. Just the number of guests that the restaurant received every day was already enough to make a bunch of people die. However, no matter how much they complained, Su Yiyan couldn't do anything about it. This was already the limit of the carnival hall. Any more and everyone would be overworked, and the loss would outweigh the gain. After that, Su Yiyan briefly introduced the corresponding hair loss symptoms of several dishes. She divided some of the dishes into a lucky draw and gave them away. Then she left the small kitchen and ran to call Hua Chenhuan to eat. Hua Chenhuan turned her wheelchair out of the room. Seeing the table full of delicious dishes, she should have had a big appetite. But when she thought that the dishes on the table were all for her hairline, Hua Chenhuan couldn't help but twitch the corners of her eyes and feel complicated. Chapter 363. Hua Jinyao, who felt that his hairline was still very solid, finished the meal with a subtle expression on his face. Little did he know that this meal, which he was extremely resistant to, was a supreme honor in the eyes of some people. He didn't know how lucky he was. That night, Hua Chenhuan called Zui Yanbai first and asked him to send a small robot to her house early the next morning. It didn't have many functions as long as it could help relieve boredom. Zui Yanbai was not stupid. He immediately guessed that this robot was for young mistress. While he agreed, he said thoughtfully, "Young master, many people in the company watched young mistress's live stream today." Hua Chenhuan's face darkened. He recalled that Su Yiyan had explicitly said that she was worried about his hairline in the live stream. Now, he was afraid that everyone in his company would think that his hairline was in danger. Zui Yanbai had no idea that his young master's focus was a little off. He didn't understand his young master's hint at all. When he saw that Hua Jinyao didn't say anything, he had no choice but to bite the bullet and continue. After watching the live stream, many people in the company hoped that young mistress can save their poor hair. Hua Chenhuan narrowed her eyes. If they want to eat it, they can order it from a medicinal cuisine restaurant. The corners of Zui Yanbai's eyes twitched slightly. I told them the same thing, but they said that young mistress's medicinal cuisine restaurant is already half a year away. If they really wait until then, I'm afraid that nearly half of the people in the company will have become bald. Although this sounded a little funny, it wasn't impossible. In order to research and develop the protective robot, they would probably have to continue working overtime for the next 6 months or even a year. Although this kind of research and development paid high salaries and gave a high sense of accomplishment, it wasn't an exaggeration to say that these achievements were exchanged for their thin hair and receding hairlines. If they had a choice, who would want to be bald? Who would want to be bald? Huo Chenhuan followed Zhu Yanbai's words and tried to imagine a scene where nearly half of the people in the company were light bulbs. Seeing that Huo Chenhuan was silent again, Zhu Yanbai was a little distressed. I heard that the employees in Young Mistress's restaurant have the benefit of tasting the medicinal cuisine for free. Because of this, many people in the company have already thought of quitting and applying for a job at Young Mistress's restaurant. Huo Jinyao was speechless. You're a high-tech intellectual who's coding, why are you applying for a job at my wife's restaurant? Do errands, Young Mistresses, Zhu Yanbai, Young Mistress, Zhu Yanbai's words. Following Yu Xian's example of praising Su Yiyan, Zhu Yanbai said, Young Master and Young Mistress are a family. Husband and wife are one. Now that all of our companies are under Young Mistress's name, they can be considered as Young Mistress's companies. Huo Chenhuan was speechless. Although he had planned to give his companies to Su Yiyan as a betrothal gift, he never thought that these outstanding backbones that he had painstakingly cultivated would be seduced away by his wife's meal. Should he be angry? Or should he be happy? Zhu Yanbai was used to losing face. He coughed lightly and said even more shamelessly, Ahem? Well, we don't ask for the same benefits as the employees in Young Mistress's restaurant. We just hope that Young Mistress can give our employees a back door so that they can cut in line for Young Master's sake. Huo Chenhuan was speechless. Chapter 364. Zhu Yanbai sounded so pitiful that he almost shouted at Huo Chenhuan, Save the child. Huo Chenhuan hung up the phone with a cold face, but she still took his words to heart. Su Yiyan received a call from Xia Junxing shortly after dinner. He told her about Luo Weibing. Ning Chirui has already talked to Luo Weibing. He asked him to bring his sister's test report to the Ning family tomorrow afternoon. You can go and have a look. Both Ning Chirui and Luo Weibing were public figures and they were popular topics. If they were photographed by some media when they met outside, it would cause another uproar. For this reason, Xia Junxing discussed with Ning Chirui's agent and decided to meet at Ning Chirui's house. The Ning family was located in a high-end villa area with strict security. No matter how good the paparazzi were, they could not easily sneak in. Yes, is there any problem with the Ning family? You don't have to worry about this. They were very happy when they heard that you were coming. They said that they wanted to see you for a long time. Su Yiyan nodded and muttered, Well, can I bring my family? Xia Junxing's eyebrows twitched. He felt that this topic was not very friendly to a single person like him. Should be, okay. Su Yiyan heard Xia Junxing's uncertainty and did not embarrass him. She chuckled and said, Forget it, I'll ask them myself. Su Yiyan asked Xia Junxing for Ning Chirui's contact information and called him directly. Ning Chirui's health had improved a lot during this time, and his family did not restrict his contact with the outside world. When he received a call from Su Yiyan, Ning Chirui was still a little surprised. He thought that she had something to tell him about the meeting with Luo Weibing tomorrow afternoon. As a result, you come to my house to see someone and bring your family? Why can't I? Ning Chirui's mouth twitched slightly and he could not help but say, Are you conjoined twins? You have to take me with you wherever you go. Su Yiyan said shyly and confidently, Oh, we are newlyweds. Naturally, we don't want to be separated for a moment. You're still young, so it's normal that you don't understand. Ning Chirui. What did she mean by, I'm still young so it's normal that I don't understand? Is she mocking me for being young and not having been in a relationship before? But screw you. You're the one who's young. Your whole family is young. I'm not young. So do you agree or not? I'm just bringing a family member. It's not like I'm staying at your place for dinner. Do you have to be so stingy? Ning Chirui almost exploded in anger. What did she mean by not leaving food at my house? Was that what he cared about? However, when he thought about how much food he had eaten during this period of time, Ning Chirui suddenly became weak. In the end, he snorted coldly, If you want to come, then come. Is there anyone stopping you? But be careful, please don't do anything inappropriate in public. Alright, if there's nothing else, I'm hanging up. I'm a patient and need to rest early. After Ning Chirui finished speaking, He did not wait for Su Yiyen's reaction and ended the call. Su Yiyen was stunned for a while before she reacted. What do you mean by, please don't do anything inappropriate in public? When did Shenhuan and I? Su Yiyen was both angry and amused, but in the end she could not do anything to him. She could only secretly think that she would go over tomorrow and give him 2 more injections. Ning Chirue, who had no idea that his cheap mouth had caused another disaster for himself, suddenly felt a chill down his spine. He had a faint premonition that there seemed to be a wicked person who wanted to harm him. Chapter 365. After dealing with Ning Chirue, Su Yiyen got up and looked around. She frowned slightly as if she had sensed something. She felt that she seemed to have forgotten something. Su Yiyen walked around the house a few times but could not remember what she had forgotten. She had no choice but to give up. Forget it, she would think about it later. At that time, a certain child, who had unfortunately been forgotten by the 2 adults in the Su family, looked at the dark night outside the window with a sad face. Little Dun Dun, don't be afraid. Yin doesn't want you anymore, but I'm still your uncle. Come, I'll take you to take a bath. We can go to bed after you're done bathing. Su Yuxuan squatted in front of Dun Dun and revealed the legendary weird uncle's smile. Dun Dun's dull eyes finally reacted after hearing the word bath. It kicked forward with its short legs and kicked Su Yuxuan's handsome face with a force that did not match its small body. Then, while Su Yuxuan was still in a daze, it ran away with its short legs. Su Yuxuan was stunned for a few seconds before he reacted. He hurriedly got up to catch Dun Dun. Hey, don't run, come back. Woof woof woof, woof woof woof. It would be stupid if it did not run at this time. It was not stupid. Just like that, one ran and the other chased. The Su family was still in chaos and lively in the middle of the night. The next morning, Zui Yanbai personally sent the little robot to the door. When he saw Huo Chenhuan, his eyes were full of pleading and longing. Huo Chenhuan was speechless. Su Yiyen did not know about the little episode between the 2. As soon as he learned that Zui Yanbai had sent the little robot over, he immediately ran down from upstairs and said excitedly, "Is this a smart little robot? Let me see." Zui Yanbai quickly moved aside, allowing Su Yiyen to clearly see the little robot's true appearance. It was a little robot about 1 meter tall, and every part of its body looked round. Its head was round, its hands were round, its feet were round, and even its small body was round. It looked like an enlarged version of a glutinous rice ball. Su Yiyen's eyes lit up. She immediately fell in love with this cute little guy. Does it have a name? No, the robots that haven't been sold yet don't have names, only numbers. It's convenient for customers to name the robots themselves after buying them. The serial number of this robot is 001. 001. Su Yiyen was startled and immediately thought of a certain system. System, look at her. She's so cute. Unlike you, who often can't even squeeze out a word after poking for a long time. Su Yiyen was just routinely teasing the system, and he did not expect it to respond. Unexpectedly, the next second he heard a familiar mechanical voice. "Host, please do not compare the system with such a low-level robot." It was clearly a rigid statement, but Su Yiyen could hear a trace of disdain and annoyance in it. This was the first time Su Yiyen felt emotions from the system's reply. Although he was surprised, he could not help but feel a little more interested. His eyes turned slightly and he looked at the little robot with a smile. "It hasn't been turned on yet? How do I use it?" Zui Yanbai did not say anything. Instead he looked at Huo Chenhuan. Huo Chenhuan glanced at him, then took the initiative to bring up the control panel and press it. Su Yiyen could only see his fingers typing a bunch of things on the panel. It was so fast that there were afterimages. Following his movements, Su Yiyen's eyes widened, and his heart thumped. There was only one thought left in his mind. No wonder people said that men were the most handsome when they were focused. Her husband was really handsome. Chapter 366. Ding dong. The notification sound of the page opening successfully pulled Su Yiyen back from his infatuation. "Give it a name." Huo Chenhuan turned to look at Su Yiyen with a hint of indulgence between his eyebrows. "Me. The person who names it will be its owner." Su Yiyen was enlightened. He carefully looked at the little robot and muttered, "Look at how round its body is, why don't we call it Yuan Yuan?" Huo Chenhuan, Zui Yanbai, the system, Su Yiyen even thought that the name was quite good. It fit the little robot's appearance and was catchy. What do you think? As long as you're happy. Therefore, this little robot that could not be bought with money was given a name so carelessly. However, the people around could not help but praise the person who named it against their will. It was a good name, a good name, a good name. The little robot. Weak, helpless, and pitiful. After Su Yiyan gave the little robot a name, he seemed to have thought of something and continued to harass the system. Do you want me to give you a name too? 001 or whatever it is sounds very perfunctory. The system. Compared to a name like Yuan Yuan, it felt that 001 was quite good. In order to avoid this fatal problem, the system wisely chose to play dead. No matter how much Su Yiyan poked it, it was not willing to make a sound. Su Yiyan poked for a long time but did not get a response. He quickly gave up and continued to torment the little robot. After entering the name, there was another notification sound. The little robot's big black eyes suddenly lit up, and its internal system finally started to operate. Hello, this is the intelligent little robot Yuan Yuan. From today onwards, I will serve you wholeheartedly. I hope that the owner will like me, love me, and treat me as a member of the family. After the rigid mechanical voice, it turned into a childish voice. Hello, Big Sister Master, I'm number 001 AI Yuan Yuan. Don't be fooled by my small size, I'm very useful. Su Yiyan was startled by her cheerful tone and her tone, which seemed to be asking for credit. She looked at Huo Qinhuan and asked with a smile, then what can you do? Yuan Yuan can carry the dishes, wash the clothes, clean the house, carry the table, change the light bulbs and build the manor. Su Yiyan listened to the little robot's childish voice as it said that it could carry a table and change light bulbs. For some reason he felt like he was illegally hiring child labor. You're so capable. How much should I pay you a month? Master, you don't need to pay Yuan Yuan a salary. You just need to let Yuan Yuan eat her fill and have the strength to work. Su Yiyan was slightly startled. Do you mean to recharge your batteries? No need. As soon as Su Yiyan finished speaking, Huo Qinhuan added, it uses a solar panel. You just need to let it bask in the sun every day. Under normal circumstances, it can be used for 1 to 2 months after basking in the sun for 1 to 2 days. Oh wow. It could operate normally just by basking in the sun, and it could be used for 1 to 2 months. This was simply an extremely long standby. Thinking about it this way, even if this little robot couldn't protect its owner, it could still take on multiple roles. It could be a nanny, a pet, or even a playmate for children at home. It was simply a multi-purpose treasure chest. It was so much better than those little pets that always gave their owners attitude and ate a lot. Dun Dun, who was caught off guard, was confused. Chapter 367. It's fine as long as it's full. What a low requirement. At the very least, it should be enough to eat and wear warm clothes. How about this? I'll ask Uncle Zhang to prepare a few small clothes for you to change into so that you can wear them to work every day. You can change out of them when they get dirty, okay? Rolly Yuan's round eyes instantly turned into crescents, and its tender voice was tinged with pure joy. Okay, Rolly Yuan will be responsible for washing the dirty clothes that you change out of. Its crisp voice coupled with its round shape really made people want to hold it in the palm of their hands and give it a few kisses. Do your own things. Rolly Yuan is so obedient. As Su Yiyan spoke, she seemed to have thought of something and frowned. But Rolly Yuan, are you a boy or a girl? Huo Qinhuan? Zui Yanbai couldn't help but laugh out loud. Then he was rewarded with a cold glare by his young master. He was so scared that he shivered and lowered his head to hide the smile on his face. Su Yiyan didn't seem to care. She only raised her head and looked at Huo Qinhuan in confusion. In her opinion, this little fellow was a product of Huo Qinhuan's company, so Huo Qinhuan should have some say in this matter. Robots don't have a clear gender. If you like girls, dress it up as girls. If you like boys, dress it up as boys. As soon as she finished speaking, Rolly Yuan continued, Rolly Yuan can be a girl or a boy depending on master's needs. I can do anything. Su Yiyan? What kind of heartwarming little angel was this? Then it's better to be a girl. You can wear all kinds of little dresses. Su Yiyan looked at Rolly Yuan and felt that it would be more convenient for it to wear dresses. However, Huo Qinhuan and Zui Yanbai didn't think so at all. The two of them looked at each other. They inexplicably suspected that the reason why the short-legged robot liked to wear lace dresses was not because of its personal preference, but because of its master, Su Yiyan. Su Yiyan didn't know what the two of them were thinking. After confirming the gender of the little robot, it would take some time for someone to send some children's clothes over. She rolled her eyes and turned into the small kitchen. Seeing this, Zui Yanbai couldn't help but whisper to Huo Qinhuan, Young master, is young madam raising 001 like a child? Although Huo Qinhuan thought the same, she still scolded coldly, What 001? It's called Yuan Yuan. Zuyen Bai. Alright, whatever you say. As long as you're happy. Su Yiyan went to the kitchen to find an apron that she usually wore and put it on Yuan Yuan. The short skirt fit Yuan Yuan's body just right above his little round penis, and it was surprisingly fitting. The cute snowman pattern in the middle of the apron also looked very compatible with Yuan Yuan. Su Yiyan looked it up and down and said with satisfaction, "Not bad. I'll make do with it today. I'll change you into a beautiful dress tomorrow." Roly-Poly, on the other hand, was very satisfied with this somewhat simple apron. There was even a faint blush on her cheeks. Yuan Yuan likes small skirts. Su Yiyan smiled. Is that so? It seems that Yuan Yuan is indeed a girl. In the future, Master will change Yuan Yuan's salary into small skirts. Yes. The pitiful and forgotten Zai Zai finally returned home under Su Yuxuan's escort. When it saw this scene, it was as if it was struck by lightning. What a heartless master. It had only been a day since it left home, and he already had a new lover. Chapter 368. Dun Dun was like a grieving wife who had caught her husband secretly meeting with a mistress. Its little penis was kicking as it struggled to escape from Su Yuxuan's embrace. Su Yuxuan was shocked. She wanted to hold it down, but she was worried that she would injure it severely. In a fluster, it quickly escaped. As soon as Dun Dun broke free from Su Yuxuan's embrace, it immediately ran in the direction of the little robot, barking as it ran. Dun Dun. Su Yiyan was stunned for a moment. When she saw Dun Dun flying towards the little robot, she subconsciously stood in front of the little robot to prevent Dun Dun from pouncing on the little robot. Unexpectedly, in the next second, she heard a familiar mechanical voice behind her. An attacking object has been detected. It is recommended that you immediately expel it. Expel? Before Su Yiyan had time to understand what this meant, she saw the little robot's cute little round hand suddenly retract. When it reappeared, it had become a hand-shaped paddle? Pa, woof. Dun Dun, who was originally aggressive and wanted to take down the mistress, flew out in a parabola and let out a terrified scream. Huo Chenhuan, Zuyen Bai, Su Yuxuan, who had rushed in to try and stop Dun Dun. Dun Dun. In the end, Su Yiyan, the biological mother, was the first to react. She screamed and ran over to check on Dun Dun's situation. Fortunately, it was lucky. After it was sent flying by Yuan Yuan, it just happened to plunge into the grass outside the door and not into the rose bushes next to it. When Su Yiyan dug it out from the grass, it only had a few leaves on its body and its fur was dirty. The whole dog was dizzy and couldn't stand steadily, but its life was not in danger. Su Yiyan picked up Dun Dun and checked it from head to toe. After making sure that it was really fine, she heaved a sigh of relief and lowered her head to poke its little head. You, what should I say about you? Didn't I tell you not to pounce on others casually? Woof. Dun Dun let out a pitiful cry, looking at Su Yiyan with eyes full of complaints. Not only did you leave your little darling outside, you even found a new lover. It was one thing for him to have a new lover, but at this time he was actually criticizing him for his new lover? You heartless master. Dun Dun was filled with grievances when the little robot ran over and asked its master, detected an aggressive life form. Do you want to expel it? Su Yiyan was slightly stunned. Only then did he understand what the little robot meant by banishing the dog. He laughed and said, "This is our family's dog. We can't banish it." Yuan Yuan received the order and ding dong, master's pet dog. Information has been backed up. No need to expel it. Yuan Yuan carefully and conscientiously checked the surrounding dangerous creatures for its master, but it didn't know that this action once again poked Dun Dun's sensitive little heart. This shameless little fairy not only charmed its master, but also wanted its master to chase it away. If this could be tolerated, what else could be tolerated? Woof woof woof, woof woof woof. Dun Dun struggled to bare its teeth at Yuan Yuan, struggling to pounce on it. Yuan Yuan's dimmed eyes lit up again with a faint light, detected that this dog is aggressive. Do you want to punish it on the spot? Punish? Su Yiyan couldn't help but gasp. What do you want to do? Kill it on the spot and make it into a dog meat hot pot. Chapter 369. Su Yiyan looked at the dog and robot who were like fire and water. She helplessly held her forehead and felt a headache coming on. She reached out and patted Dun Dun's head, then rubbed its fur. She gently advised, Dun Dun, be good. This is Yuan Yuan, the new member of our family. You two have to get along well and be harmonious and friendly. Don't fight. When Dun Dun heard Su Yiyen's words, it did not continue to yell at Yuan Yuan. However, it suddenly turned around and faced Yuan Yuan with its butt. It was clear that it would not cooperate unless there was violence. There was absolutely no possibility of peaceful coexistence. Su Yiyen rubbed her aching head and sighed helplessly. Hua Qinhuan held her hand and comforted her. Maybe it's because there's suddenly an unfamiliar thing in the house. It'll be fine after a few days. I hope so. What is this? A robot? When the two heard the familiar voice, they subconsciously turned their heads and only then did they notice Su Yuxuan standing at the side. Brother? When did you come? Su Yuxuan was a little dissatisfied with his sister's neglect. He coldly snorted and said, I came with this little guy. You left it at home yesterday. This little heartless thing used to stay at home when you were at home. Now that you're married, this little fellow has also turned against us. He's been jumping up and down the whole night wanting to find you, causing a huge commotion in our house. Look at the dark circles under my eyes. It was all caused by this little bastard last night. Su Yiyen listened to her brother's complaints and a rare look of embarrassment appeared on her face. No wonder she kept feeling that she had missed something last night. It turned out that she had left this little thing at home. I talked to my aunt yesterday and left Dun Dun at home. This little guy has been quite restless recently. Thank you for your hard work last night. Su Yuxuan sighed and did not continue to dwell on this issue. Instead, he turned his attention to the little robot at the side. This little thing is a robot? Intelligent? Su Yiyen did not say anything. Instead, she glanced at Hua Qinhuan. Hua Qinhuan didn't hide anything. It's our company's new product. We'll bring it back for Yan Yan to play with. Just treat it as a product test. Oh. Su Yuxuan was obviously very interested in this little robot, but in the end, she didn't ask Hua Qinhuan for it. However, Hua Qinhuan saw through his thoughts at a glance. Her eyes flashed slightly and she smiled faintly. This project is not very mature yet. When it's perfected, I'll give one to Big Brother to play with. The expression on Su Yuxuan's face stiffened, and he became angry out of humiliation. Don't think that you can bribe me like this. We're all a family. What's the point of talking about bribing? If you have something good, don't tell me you're going to give it to strangers instead of your family? Su Yuxuan's eyes flickered. After a few minutes, he finally relented and said, All right then. When you're done, sell me one to bring home. Hua Qinhuan's lips curved slightly, but she didn't refute. When the time came, wouldn't it be up to him to sell or give it away? This robot's technology is not mature yet. There won't be any danger in leaving it at home, right? No, our robot's priority is to protect its owner. Its owner is Yan Yan. Su Yuxuan was completely relieved. In the end, he looked at the little robot a few more times before leaving. During the conversation between the two, Su Yiyen didn't interrupt from beginning to end. It wasn't until Su Yuxuan left that he couldn't help but laugh out loud. You really know how to win people's hearts. If you give this robot away, my brother won't be able to find fault with you in the future. Chapter 370. Hua Qinhuan looked at her deeply and said meaningfully, I'll only be able to live a good life in your family if I please my brother-in-law. You make it sound like my brother and the rest really did something to you. My parents didn't make things difficult for you when you came home with me yesterday. Hua Qinhuan smiled but didn't say anything. The Su family didn't make things difficult for him yesterday and even tried to accept him. They had already shown their attitude, so he naturally couldn't be too passive. Even if it was for Su Yiyen, he should try his best to build a good relationship with them. By the way, didn't you say that this robot only has some basic functions? Why did it have such a big reaction when Dun Dun pounced on it just now? Also, it had banished and punished. These words were especially frightening. Although its functions aren't particularly complete, it's still a robot assembled with this foundation, so it naturally has a certain level of protection. It's just that. Just that. It's just that its protection isn't particularly strong. At most, it can only chase it away. Su Yiyen instantly understood the meaning behind Hua Qinhuan's words. She probed, if it's completely completed, wouldn't its lethality be? Hua Qinhuan looked at her and said meaningfully, Dun Dun was lucky to have his life back. Su Yiyen? Oh. Dun Dun, who didn't know that he had just brushed shoulders with the Grim Reaper, looked at his master and dog father in confusion. Su Yiyen patted his dog's head in pity. She didn't need to say anything. Su Yiyen still had to bring Hua Qinhuan to the Ning family in the afternoon. Before she left, she reminded her repeatedly. She told Yuan Yuan that Dun Dun was a family member. Even if he was a little rash, she couldn't be too harsh on him. She was afraid that when she came back from this trip, she would see her own child's cold corpse. Unfortunately, Dun Dun didn't understand his master's motherly feelings at all. As soon as he saw his master leave, he immediately ran to find trouble with Yuan Yuan excitedly. Su Yiyan still didn't know that no one could stop his family's dogs and bears when they got together. It was already 3 o'clock in the afternoon when the two arrived at the Ning residence. Perhaps because the Ning family had informed them in advance, the journey was smooth and they quickly arrived at the entrance of the Ning residence. To everyone's surprise, although Ning Xiyuan was the only one who came out to welcome Su Yiyan and Su Yu, when they entered the house, there were 5 or 6 people sitting inside. Among them were 2 middle-aged couples and 2 white-haired old men who looked about the same age as her grandfather. Su Yiyan was slightly startled. For a moment he was somewhat unable to grasp the meaning of this family. Hua Chenhuan seemed to have noticed that she was on guard against these people. He took the initiative to hold her hand and told her that he was here and that she didn't need to worry. Ning Xiyuan was even more perceptive as he introduced the two of them. This is my parents and grandfather. Opposite them is my uncle, aunt and grandfather. Su Yiyan raised his eyebrows. He quickly realized that the elders of the Ning family and the Qi family were all present. This lineup was not ordinary. But was this a show of force to show them who was in charge, or? Before she could think about it, Mrs. Ning had already stepped forward and held Su Yiyan's hand enthusiastically. You must be Mrs. Hua, right? Don't stand at the door. Come in and have a seat. Su Yiyan was stunned by her sudden familiarity. By the time she reacted, she had already been pulled in. Hua Chenhuan's eyes flashed when he saw this. He politely declined Ning Xiyuan's help and turned his wheelchair to Su Yiyan's side. He looked coldly at the two families to see what they were up to. Chapter 371. In fact, the two of them really thought too much. The reason why the Ning and Qi families had gathered here was mainly because they wanted to see the two of them. When we heard about Ruerue's condition from Xiyuan, we've always wanted to see you. However, Ruerue's illness really made us feel a little overwhelmed. Secondly, we were afraid that it would be too abrupt to come here rashly. 2 days ago we heard Ruerue say that he wanted to invite you to our house, so we wanted to get together to see you and thank you. You're too kind. Chirue is an artist of our company. It's a good thing for me in the company that he's well. Su Yiyan paused and said awkwardly, if you don't mind, you can call me Yayan. Su Yiyan felt a little psychological pressure to be addressed by a person who was old enough to be her mother. Okay. Mrs. Ning looked at Su Yiyan discreetly, and the more she looked, the more she liked her. It was a pity that she was already taken. Otherwise, regardless of age, appearance or family background, she was very compatible with Xiyuan. Mrs. Ning said and looked at her eldest son with disappointment. He was already so old, but he still didn't hurry to find a wife. All the good girls had been taken away by others. Young Master Ning, who was really shot even though he was lying down, was speechless. Mom, don't look at me. Can't you see that the wife's eyes are almost piercing your son into a sieve? Su Yiyan also had goosebumps when Mrs. Ning looked at her. She took the initiative to ask, Chirue should be better recently, right? There haven't been any other complications, right? As soon as Ning Chirue was mentioned, the attention of several people instantly focused on Su Yiyan. Recently he has been slowly recovering. He has been eating the food that you sent over. His condition is indeed slowly improving. Su Yiyan breathed a sigh of relief. That's good. As long as it doesn't worsen and there are no other complications, he will get better and better after a period of slowly recuperation. His illness can't be rushed. He has to recuperate for a while. When Mr. Ning heard her say this, he hurriedly said, it doesn't matter how long it takes. As long as he can get better, it's worth it no matter how much time we spend. Madam Ning nodded in agreement. That's true. At this time, the old man sitting opposite her suddenly said, I heard that you used acupuncture to treat Chirue. This method has been lost for a long time. Who would have thought that in the end, it would reappear in the hands of a young man? Truly the new generation excels the old. Su Yiyan was slightly startled, but she immediately realized that Yi Qiliang had approached her because he had accidentally heard from Ning Chirue's grandfather that she had treated Ning Chirue. Now that this old man mentioned this, it was not strange. It just so happens that I have some books about this at home, and it just so happens that I have some interest and talent in this area, so I took advantage of it. You don't have to be modest. Although old man Yi has a bad temper, he never jokes about serious matters. He was full of praises for you, so I think you must have real talent and knowledge. Moreover, Chirue's recovery was indeed due to you. We all saw it and were very grateful to you. Su Yiyan listened to the old man's praise, but only laughed dryly. She was really not good at dealing with other people's gratitude. Wu Chenhuan saw Su Yiyan's discomfort. Her eyes darkened slightly and she suddenly interjected, "You all gathered here so cautiously. It shouldn't be just to thank Yan Yan, right?" Chapter 372. As soon as Wu Chenhuan said that, the room fell silent. The smile on Mrs. Ning's face froze for a moment. She pursed her lips, sighed and said truthfully, "Just as Mr. Hua said, we gathered here to see Mrs. Hua and thank her in person. We also wanted to ask Mrs. Hua if she could take a look at Siyuan as well." For Madame Ning, these words were really difficult to say. She didn't ask for anything in return and spent time and effort to treat her youngest son, saving his life. It was bad enough that she didn't want to thank her or compensate her, but she actually wanted her to continue treating her eldest son. No matter how one looked at it, they seemed a little shameless. However, Mrs. Ning had no choice. Ning Siyuan's asthma had always been a worry for the family. Now that she suddenly knew that there was a possibility of a cure, she had no choice but to ask, even if it meant sacrificing her dignity. "I know this request is very unreasonable, but I still want to shamelessly beg you to be considerate of a mother's heart." "Mom." Ning Siyuan couldn't bear to see his mother humbling herself for him. He frowned and wanted to stop her. However, Mrs. Ning only looked at him deeply and continued, "Siyuan's asthma came from his mother's womb. All these years, I've often wondered if I did something evil in my previous life to cause my child to suffer like this." When Mrs. Ning said this, both families looked at her in surprise. Obviously, they didn't expect her to think this way. Because of this illness, Siyuan's body was weak when he was young. Every time he had an attack, he would suffer for a long time. As his parents, it's impossible for us not to feel sorry for him. In order to make him feel better, we moved from our hometown to City A, where the air quality is the best. Even so, his illness hasn't improved and he can only rely on medicine to alleviate it. Every medicine has its side effects. What really broke Mrs. Ning down was that they were already worried sick about their eldest son's illness. Their healthy youngest son suddenly fell ill. If it weren't for the help of a benefactor, he might have passed away earlier than their eldest son. Suddenly knowing this, Madame Ning almost fainted on the spot. Even now thinking about it, she still felt deeply frightened and scared. She couldn't bear the blow of losing any of her sons, and she couldn't worry about her children day and night. She was afraid that something would happen to him as soon as he left her sight, and she wouldn't have time to give him first aid or take medicine to relieve his pain. Su Yiyan did not immediately agree. Instead, he pondered for a moment and gave an ambiguous answer. "I'll think about it." Mrs. Ning looked a little disappointed. Mr. Ning reached out and hugged her. She quickly recovered and said with a faint smile, "Take your time to think about it. There's no rush." "Yes." Su Yiyan nodded. "Luo Weibing should have arrived, right?" "He's already here. I asked him to wait in Chirue's room." "Well, I'll go over to check on Chirue's situation first and meet him on the way. I'll walk you up." Ning Siyuan stood up and prepared to walk them up personally. Wu Chenhuan held Su Yiyan's hand that was about to push him upstairs. "You go up. I'll wait for you downstairs." Su Yiyan was a little surprised. She glanced at Wu Chenhuan and then at the people in the room. She was not relieved and said, "Wait for me here for a while. I'll be down soon." "Okay." Chapter 373. As she watched Su Yiyan follow Ning Siyuan upstairs, Wu Chenhuan's face darkened. She looked at everyone in the room expressionlessly. The few of them had witnessed the stark difference in Wu Chenhuan's attitude toward Su Yiyan compared to when he was with them. They also had some new speculations about the rumor that the two of them had a business marriage instead of true love. Mr. Ning patted his wife's hand comfortingly and said, "I heard that Mr. Hua's company has been busy applying for patents related to electronic products." Wu Chenhuan looked up at him. She was not surprised that he knew about this. Although the Ning and Qi families appeared to be big business families on the surface, they were comparable to the Qing family when it came to relationships within certain organizations. "Mr. Ning, are you interested in this too?" "I am, but unfortunately I don't know much about this. I'm not an expert. If I really want to enter the industry, I'll need a professional to guide me." Wu Chenhuan's eyes flickered. She instantly understood Mr. Ning's intentions. "So, you chose me to be your guide?" Mr. Ning did not expect Wu Chenhuan to be so straightforward. He frowned and said honestly, "You can say that." "Reason? What is it?" "My reason for choosing me." Mr. Ning's face stiffened. He coughed softly and said, "This type of product requires a lot of investment. Even if it can be listed, it will require a fixed amount of publicity funds in the initial period. We can invest in all of this. Is it because of Ning Xiyuan's illness?" Hua Chenhuan saw through their intentions. "You want me to persuade Yan Yan to agree to treat Ning Xiyuan through investment?" "Yes." This was the only way they could think of to repay Su Yiyan. "I refuse." Mr. and Mrs. Ning were shocked. "Mr. Hua, you can think about it. I won't force Yan Yan to do anything that she doesn't want to do. But, if she agrees to treat Ning Xiyuan today, she will treat him even if you don't cooperate with me. On the other hand, if she's not willing to treat Ning Xiyuan, even if you work with me, I won't ask her for benefits." Madame Ning looked anxious. She wanted to say something but was stopped by Grandpa Qi. Shuang Air. Qi Yu Shuang pursed her lips and lowered her head in disappointment. The two elders, who had the most authority, looked at each other and thought highly of Hua Chenhuan. It was Yao Hui and the others who were rude. "Even without your wife, the prospects of your company's products are still very promising." Hua Chenhuan met Elder Ning's gaze. Her eyes were deep and she didn't say anything. Su Yiyan did not know what had happened downstairs after she left. She followed Ning Xiyuan up to the second floor and soon arrived at Ning Chirui's room. As soon as he opened the door, he could see the furnishings inside. In order to store the medical equipment in the already spacious room, the room next door was forcibly opened, and the two rooms were combined into one. Not only were there one or two medical equipment in the room, but there were also all kinds of furniture and game equipment. Su Yiyan's mouth twitched. Ning Xiyuan stood next to her and understood her thoughts at a glance. He said awkwardly, "Chirui can't go out during this period. It's too boring to be alone in the room." "He's not a quiet person." Su Yiyan was speechless. "You don't have to explain. How could your brother be so unrestrained while recovering from his illness? Did he forget that he was still a patient?" Chapter 374. There were only 3 people in the room: Ning Chirui, his agent, and Luo Weibing. Seeing Su Yiyan walk in, Luo Weibing was surprised, but he did not think much about it. He just thought that Ning Chirui had called her over. Ning Chirui's eyes lit up when he saw Su Yiyan, but he complained with some dissatisfaction. "Didn't you say you'd be here at 3? Why are you here so late? As the boss of the company, you have no sense of time at all." Su Yiyan laughed. "This guy started to act like a young master as soon as he got better. He looked cute when he was sick and miserable some time ago. I did arrive at 3 o'clock, but I talked to your parents downstairs for a while, so I was delayed." "You're here to see me. What's the point of talking to them?" Ning Chirui's attitude towards Su Yiyan's conversation made Luo Weibing's expression change for a moment, but he quickly suppressed it and did not let anyone see it. "Chirui." Ning Xiyuan scolded Ning Chirui. "Don't be so rude." Ning Chirui was stunned by his scolding. He was a little unconvinced, but he did not say anything. Su Yiyan did not mind. After 2 or 3 months of contact, she had roughly figured out the young master's temperament. She knew that although he was a little capricious and arrogant, he did not have a bad heart. "Although I'm here to see you, I'm still a guest. How can a guest not greet the guest when he arrives at the host's house?" Ning Chirui's expression improved a little. He glanced behind the two and wondered, "Where's your family?" "They're downstairs." Su Yiyan raised her eyebrows slightly and deliberately showed a wave of affection in front of them. "We have to talk about things here for a while. I'm afraid that he'll be tired if he waits for too long, so I let him talk to your parents downstairs to relieve his boredom." Ning Xiyuan. How could she lie through her teeth like that? "Ning Chirui? Did you misunderstand your husband? He's a big man in a wheelchair. How tired can he be? Why does he sound like a weak little girl in your mouth? And if he's tired of sitting and waiting, isn't he tired of talking to my parents?" The corners of Ning Chirui's mouth twitched and he looked constipated. Although he hadn't seen Hua Chenhuan many times, he always felt that this man was filled with a dangerous aura. If this feeling had to be summed up, it could be called the intuition of a small animal encountering a dangerous natural enemy. Now that he heard Su Yiyan's words, he subconsciously shuddered and got goosebumps all over his body. Su Yiyan was a little disappointed that Ning Chirui didn't answer, so he turned his eyes to Luo Weibing. "Best actor Luo?" Luo Weibing lowered his eyes and said, "Boss Su, just call me by my name." Su Yiyan raised an eyebrow. "You know me?" The video of Mr. Su angrily scolding his ex-fiancée and his mistress has been widely circulated on the internet. Su Yiyan stared blankly for a moment before she chuckled. So that's how it is. I heard that you plan to transfer to our company? Luo Weibing didn't expect to meet Su Yiyan before this. To be precise, he wasn't mentally prepared to meet her so early and under such circumstances. After a long silence, he nodded hesitantly. Yes, if possible, I want to transfer to your company. But I have a request. For your sister? Luo Weibing was stunned again. He lowered his head slightly and said in a hoarse voice, yes. I hope your company can arrange for Mr. Ning's attending doctor to take a look at my sister. Her health is not very good. Su Yiyan saw Luo Weibing's defense and didn't intend to continue to beat around the bush. She reached out and said, where's the case? Give it to me. Chapter 375. Luo Weibing's eyes widened and he looked at Su Yiyan in surprise. His hand holding the medical record tightened subconsciously. Ning Chirui saw that he did not respond for a long time and urged him, give it to her. Su Yiyan also smiled, you have been clamoring to see me before. Now that I am in front of you, why are you hesitating? Luo Weibing thought to himself, when did I clamor to see you? The words were about to come out of his mouth when he suddenly realized something. His face changed, what? You are the attending doctor that Ning Chirui mentioned? The smile on Su Yiyan's face suddenly froze. He turned his head and glared daggers at Ning Chirui. Ning Chirui touched his nose guiltily and whispered, you are the one who treated her, so it's not wrong to say so. Luo Weibing finally woke up from his daze and hurriedly handed over the information in his hand. Sorry, I didn't think of it. I'm really sorry I didn't. In the eyes of the fans, this big star was humble, gentle, calm and introverted. It was rare to see pure fear and anxiety on his face. He was afraid that Su Yiyan would not treat his sister because of his negligence just now. Su Yiyan took the information and flipped through it slightly to see the test results at the bottom. Heart failure. Su Yiyan knew that Luo Weibing's sister died because of heart problems, but he did not expect it to be heart failure. How could a 12-year-old girl suffer from heart failure? Luo Weibing saw Su Yiyan frowning and looking dignified. His heart also thumped and he called out tentatively, President Su. Su Yiyan took a deep breath and asked in a low voice, heart palpitations, difficulty breathing and blue and purple lips. When did these symptoms begin? Luo Weibing was stunned. These things were not written in the diagnosis, but Su Yiyan could say it all at once. Luo Weibing could not help but have a glimmer of hope in his heart. These symptoms began to appear one by one about 3 months ago. At first they were only occasional, but in the past month they began to become frequent. What about before? This child should have had other minor symptoms before, such as fatigue easily, chest tightness from time to time, shortness of breath and so on. Didn't you notice anything before this? Luo Weibing's face changed slightly, and the hand hanging on his side tightened subconsciously. That's right, he didn't notice it. More accurately, he did notice it, but he didn't take it to heart. In his opinion, his sister's body had always been weak since she was young. In addition, when their parents had just passed away, the two of them had been tossing and turning all over the place. This had affected the child's body and mind to a certain extent. His younger sister had always been quiet since she was young. After her parents passed away, she didn't like to talk much. Other than with him, she was always timid and scared of strangers. Luo Weibing always thought that what Su Yiyan just said was the sequela of his sister's nervousness and sensitivity after the death of his parents, but he didn't expect that these were all his sister's death talismans. It was one thing for his sister to hide the fact that she was not feeling well and did not want to disturb him because of her. But this couldn't cover up his dereliction of duty. It was he who didn't discover his sister's abnormality at the first moment and let her seek medical treatment as soon as possible. If something happened to his sister because of this, he was afraid that he would never forgive himself in his life. Su Yiyan obviously thought of this. He sighed and said, forget it. It doesn't make sense to say this now. Let's find a way to save the child first. Chapter 376. When Luo Weibing hears Su Yiyan's words, he immediately looks forward to it. Do you have a way? I can't make a conclusion for the time being without seeing her, but you have to be mentally prepared. Luo Weibing looks at Su Yiyan's serious face and his heart trembles. He is afraid of getting a terrible answer. What? This disease is not easy to cure. Although it can be prevented to a certain extent, it may not be completely cured. If this is the case, your sister may have to take medicine for a lifetime. Your sister is only 12 years old this year, which means that you may have to pay for her long-term medical expenses. Su Yiyan doesn't finish the words, but the meaning of the words is clear. To prolong life or to give up, the responsibility of choosing the former is more than 1,000 times heavier. This is a helpless multiple-choice question, but it is also the most serious test of human nature. Luo Weibing doesn't even think about it. These are not problems as long as my sister can be well, as long as she is well. Su Yiyan heaved a sigh of relief when she heard what he said. All right. Then let's talk about your contract. I have talked about this with Mr. Xia of your company before. My request is very simple. As long as you can cure my sister, I can compromise on the specific share. This is the rhythm of directly signing the contract of selling himself. Su Yiyan's eyebrows are slightly bent, but he is not stunned by his sugar-coated cannonball. Instead, he asked a completely unrelated question. How was your relationship with your previous manager? Luo Weibing's face suddenly becomes subtle. Not very good. Su Yiyan is amused by his words. Not very good but very bad? Luo Weibing is embarrassed and says truthfully, because of Chi-Chi's affairs, I haven't been doing my job recently, so my relationship with him is not particularly good. What Luo Weibing doesn't say is that his agent is a person who is used to taking advantage of the wind and putting interests first. He has done a lot of dirty things. When he first signed in that company, he thought that he had a good luck and had a way out, but the reality slapped him hard. In order to save a female artist who was also a pimp, Luo Weibing offended a powerful department leader in the company. He was slandered and kept in cold storage for more than 2 years. During that time, Luo Weibing not only lost his source of income, but also was repeatedly found trouble. The whole family was restless. Even his sister was frightened by him several times. At that time he had really thought of dying. But when he thought of how young his sister was, without him taking care of her, there would only be one outcome for her, so he had no choice but to grit his teeth and persevere. As for his manager, not only did he not lend him a helping hand at that time, he even stepped on him a few times out of fear that he would be held accountable for his actions in order to please the team leader. Later on, he was spotted by the director of a small web drama because of his cameo. He was given a chance to play the second male lead in the drama. No one expected that such an inconspicuous director, such an inconspicuous web drama, the male and female protagonists were not popular, but Luo Weibing, the second male lead, was unexpectedly popular. Luo Weibing felt that his luck in his life might have been used at that time. When he suddenly became popular, the company was just in a state of shortage. Suddenly there appeared an artist who could be supported. Even if the former department leader fanned the flames behind his back and tried his best to prevent the company from cultivating him, he still couldn't win. Chapter 377. Luo Weibing seized the opportunity and became the company's hottest newcomer. He lived up to the company's expectations. Soon he won countless awards with his own ability and became a double gold actor that many people couldn't get in their lives. His manager had returned to his side once again, trying to curry favor with him and coerce him into doing so. Luo Weibing was already disappointed with this agent and the company at that time. It was just that it involved the contract, so he had to stay in the company. Even if Luo Weibing didn't say it, Su Yiyan could probably guess some of it. There were only a few reasons why agents and artists had conflicts. Looking at Luo Weibing's face, she was afraid that it was not as simple as him taking less work recently. Does he have anything on you? I don't think so. Luo Weibing thought of that person's virtue and frowned slightly. But with his personality, maybe he will make something out of nothing. Su Yiyan's eyes darkened slightly and she said with a smile, "This is troublesome. We are such a small company. If we really fight with your original agency." As soon as Luo Weibing heard her words, he immediately became anxious. "Boss Su, I really want to enter your company sincerely, and I have never done anything harmful to others." You. Su Yiyan couldn't help but laugh out loud. Okay, I didn't say that I don't want you. Let me finish. Luo Weibing pursed his lips and looked at her eagerly, but she said proudly in the next second, "Our small company may not win against your former agency, but my husband is rich. With his help, no one can touch the people in my company." Luo Weibing, the others in the room, will you die if you don't show off your love? Ning Chirue was annoyed by the public display of affection and said angrily, "Can't you be more promising? You look for your husband for everything." Su Yiyan heard this and sneered. "I haven't seen you for a few days and your mouth has become nimble again. Believe it or not, I will give you a few needles now. No matter how many needles you give me, I will say the same thing. Ning Chirui looked unconvinced. Am I wrong? You always bring up your husband. Can't you have a little backbone? Backbone? My husband and I are family. What's his is mine. If I don't hug such a big golden thigh and hold on by myself, that's not called having a backbone, that's called being stupid. Ning Chirui was speechless. Oh, how infuriating. But I couldn't refute it. This single dog was really anxious to death. Ning Siyuan watched the scene from the side with a slight smile. In the past, he had only seen his younger brother make people speechless. It was rare to see someone make him so speechless. However, Ning Siyuan subconsciously glanced at Su Yiyan. Being able to make a woman trust and rely on him was a kind of happiness for some people. After defeating Ning Chirui, Su Yiyan proudly raised his chin and looked at Luo Weibing. If you sincerely want to come to our company, I will call Brother Junxing when I go back and ask him to contact you to discuss the contract. But you have to be mentally prepared. I don't expect you to bring much benefit to my company, but I don't like artists who are disloyal to my company. Moreover, our company's contract year is more stringent. People like you must sign a 10-year contract at one time. Luo Weibing was stunned. He was 24 this year. 10 years later he would be 34. It could be said that he had signed the golden 10 years of his life in this circle. Chapter 378. Su Yiyan glanced at him. What do you think? Do you need some time to think about it? No need. Luo Weibing said without thinking, as long as you can save my sister, I will sign the 10-year contract. That's good. Su Yiyan's eyes lit up slightly. You don't have to worry. I signed you to the company to make money. I won't treat you badly in terms of resources. As for your sister's medical expenses, I will deduct it from your salary. Ning Chirui told you that my treatment of him is an internal employee benefit. You will be an artist of our company after signing the contract. You can also enjoy the internal employee benefits. Luo Weibing was slightly startled and then couldn't help but laugh. I understand. I will talk to Mr. Xia as soon as possible. Okay. Luo Weibing's sister was still in the hospital. Luo Weibing was worried about leaving for too long. After confirming his work with Su Yiyan, he left first. When leaving, Ning Chirui suddenly asked Ning Siyuan to help send Luo Weibing off. Although Ning Siyuan was puzzled, he did not say anything and took Luo Weibing downstairs. As soon as the two left, Su Yiyan turned around and asked Ning Chirui, "You deliberately sent your brother away. Is there anything you want to say to me?" Ning Chirui stiffened and said uncomfortably, "What did my parents talk to you about just now? What do you think they talked about with me? Is it related to my brother's illness? You actually know about it?" Su Yiyan exclaimed and looked at Ning Chirui with surprise in her eyes. Ning Chirui was irritated by her look. What do you mean I actually know? Am I that stupid? Although his family said that they wanted to see Su Yiyan to thank her in person for saving him, Ning Chirui was not stupid. If it was only his parents, it would be fine. Even his grandfather and the others were dragged over. Obviously, it was not just to thank her in person. After thinking about it, the only possibility was that it was about his brother's illness. Su Yiyan looked at him and joked, "No?" Ning Chirui's face darkened and turned his face to the side. Su Yiyan laughed. "Since you've already guessed it, don't you have anything to say to me?" Ning Chirui furrowed his brows and turned his face around again. He carefully probed, "Then my brother's illness. It can be cured." Ning Chirui's face lit up. "Then, I have a condition." "Didn't you just mention internal employee benefits?" "Oh, you mean Luo Weibing? He's a key employee, so he's naturally different from someone like you." "What do you mean by, like me? What do I look like?" Ning Chirui suddenly became angry. "We're both artists in the company. How is he different from me? I'm an old employee. He's here with results." Su Yiyan crossed her arms in front of her chest and clicked her tongue. "On the other hand, not only did your performance not stand out, you even dragged us down. How can you compare yourself to others?" Ning Chirui, who was struggling to find a job, felt as if a knife had been stabbed in his heart. He was so angry that he could not refute it. Moreover, you've already used this benefit yourself. Now you want to use it a second time. Do you really think our company is a charity? Ning Chirui's little heart was pierced by an arrow again, and his whole person became dispirited. "Is there no other way?" "There is." Ning Chirui suddenly looked up and looked at her with sparkling eyes. Su Yiyan's lips curled up into an extremely annoying smile. Beg me, Ning Chirui. Childish. Chapter 379. Ning Chirui was stunned for a few seconds and became angry. I'm not joking with you. I'm not joking with you either. Su Yiyan blinked innocently. Ning Chirui froze. He stared at Su Yiyan for a while and finally gave in. Avoiding Su Yiyan's eyes, he whispered, Will you really agree if I beg you? You can try. It depends on my mood. You. Ning Chirui exploded again. The two continued to stare at each other. After a few seconds, Su Yiyan held back her laughter and said, So, are you begging me or not? If you're not begging, I'm leaving. Su Yiyan pretended to leave. Ning Chirui was anxious. Wait. Ha. I beg you? Ning Chirui's voice was not much louder than a mosquito. Su Yiyan's eyes flashed slightly. What? I didn't hear you. Ning Chirui glared at her fiercely. Please, please, please cure my brother. Is this okay? Su Yiyan could not hold back and laughed. You, begging someone is like seeking revenge. So, are you going to save him or not? Let me ask you a question first. After you recover, do you still want to stay in the entertainment industry and continue to be a small star? Ning Chirui was stunned. Just say whether you want to or not. I want to. I'm not a person who gives up halfway. If I say I want to go back, I want to go back in glory. That's fine. You originally signed a 3-year contract, right? You can renew it with Luo Weebing for a few years and make it a 10-year contract. Su Yiyan had already thought about it. These potential stocks must be secured in advance so that her company could develop as soon as possible. Ning Chirui was not stupid. After a few seconds he quickly reacted and said angrily, Treacherous, childish, bastard, stingy Zhoubapi. Su Yiyan let him scold him. How did he find this little bastard so amusing in the past? After scolding him for a long time, it didn't hurt or itch and he couldn't think of a new word. After he finished scolding, Su Yiyan smiled and said, This is a lesson for you. In the future don't listen to what others say. Otherwise it's a small matter if you hurt yourself, but it's a big matter if you hurt your family. Ning Chirui's expression changed slightly. He knew that Su Yiyan was referring to his trust in Wen Jingping and his previous hostility towards her. Thinking about it from another perspective, if he was insinuated by someone for no reason, he would not repay evil with kindness and save the life of the person who instigated him. Fortunately, he had fallen ill right after he finished mocking Su Yiyan. Otherwise, he would have been brainwashed by Wen Jingping to the point that he believed her without a doubt. He really couldn't be sure what he would have done to Su Yiyan. That's right, it was brainwashing. Although he was sick during this period, he did pay attention to the storms on the internet. Naturally, he knew how much trouble Wen Jingping had caused after he fell ill. The more he read, the clearer his mind became. When he thought about it, he felt more and more that he had been possessed a few months ago. Why did he have such a good impression of a strange woman so easily? Why did he so easily believe all of her words and completely treat her as a victim? Even the slightest doubt was accompanied by a strong sense of guilt and guilt. Especially when he heard Su Yiyan say this, he couldn't help but feel scared. If he had really listened to Wen Jingping's words and done something substantial to hurt her with righteous indignation, would she still save him? Would she still save his family? Chapter 380. Su Yiyan saw the fear in Ning Chirui's eyes and knew that he already knew what was going on, so she did not continue to discuss this topic. If there's nothing else, I should go back. Have a good rest. As for the contract, I'll let someone talk to you when you're better. Hey, don't. Ning Chirui said anxiously, Hurry up. You want to sign it so badly? Ning Chirui almost exploded again. Didn't you just tell Luo Weebing that he can only treat his sister after signing the contract? The earlier you sign it, the earlier my brother can recover. Su Yiyan smiled. Okay, then I'll let brother Junxing arrange it as soon as possible. You should take care of yourself first. The sooner you recover, the sooner you can shine for the company. Cheapskate Joe, you only know how to exploit small employees like us. Su Yiyan ignored Ning Chirui's dissatisfaction and left contentedly. After leaving Ning Chirui's room and walking forward for a while, she found that Ning Chirui's agent had followed her out. Why are you out too? What's the matter? The agent was all smiles. I'll walk you out, Su Yiyan glanced at him and did not think much until, President Su, about the employee benefits you just mentioned to Chirui, can I also? Su Yiyan paused and turned to look at him in surprise. What's wrong with you? It's just that we're old and our married life is not very harmonious. Ning Chirue's agent was in his early 40s and had many characteristics of a middle-aged man. He was greasy, bald, and had a beer belly. When he smiled, the flesh on his face was a little twisted. But it was such a person who had been by Ning Chirue's side to help take care of him when he was sick. He had never thought of bringing another newcomer to transfer the contracts that Ning Chirue had not been able to complete before. He was a serious and responsible person who valued friendship. Su Yiyan could not help but want to hold her forehead when she heard his words. She really opened a real management company, not a private hospital that specialized in treating difficult diseases and infertility. Okay, when I'm free this weekend, I'll make some medicinal cuisine for you. Send them in batches and increase the severity of the cases. Postpone your case for now. The manager was a simple and honest person. When he heard Su Yiyan's words, not only did he not have any objections, he even felt a little touched. The company's CEO spent his personal break time to give them employee benefits. With such a good boss, he was full of energy and could work for another 500 years. Fortunately, Su Yiyan did not know what he was thinking. Otherwise he would have despised him. 500 years had passed, yet he was still so energetic. Who was he trying to scare? When Su Yiyan came downstairs, Hua Qinhuan's conversation with the two families was almost over. Their expressions were the same as usual and nothing could be seen. Seeing Su Yiyan coming down from upstairs, Hua Qinhuan's face softened slightly. She took the initiative to ask, "Is everything settled?" "Well, it's all settled. Let's go home." "All right." When Qi Yushuang heard that the two were leaving, she tried to persuade them to stay. "It's getting late. Why don't you stay for dinner before you leave? The chef at home is new. Although his cooking is not as good as your restaurant's, it's still edible." Su Yiyan refused without hesitation. "No, we still have something to do. We won't stay any longer." Qi Yushuang wanted to say something, but was stopped by her husband. In the end, she could only bow her head in disappointment and watch the two leave. As soon as they came out of the Qi family, Su Yiyan happily shared the harvest of her trip with Hua Qinhuan. Chapter 381. You don't know. I've tied up 2 good seedlings for the company. When they enter my company, the company's performance will soon improve. Hua Qinhuan looks at Su Yiyan's radiant appearance, a little happy and a little sour. "Do you like them so much?" "They can help me make money." "Of course I like them." "You like money so much?" "Of course I have you to support. Although the companies you gave me made a lot of profits, no one would complain about having too much money, right?" Listening to the tone of Su Yiyan's words, it was clear that she wanted to raise Hua Qinhuan as a canary. If someone else dared to say this, Hua Qinhuan would have been thrown into the sea to feed the fish. But when he heard Su Yiyan say this, he only felt his heart soften. The subtle sourness from before also quickly dissipated completely. Su Yiyan didn't notice that her husband's jealousy came and went quickly. She was worried about how to arrange Luo Weibing. Luo Weibing could achieve this with his grassroots background. Needless to say, his strength and appearance were good. Such a money tree, if she didn't make good use of it, how could she be the boss of a company? However, because Luo Weibing had a high status, she couldn't abuse him at will. She couldn't put any messy resources on him. It was best to take the road of simple and high-class acting, and the company could help to package him. Now what needed to be considered was the agent and follow-up resources. The agent was simple. Previously, she had used Wen Jingping's incident to flare up and purged many problematic managers and executives in the company. Now most of the people left were honest people who were more dutiful but not stupid. It should not be difficult to choose one of them to lead the movie King. As for resources, do we have a spokesperson for the holographic game? Spokesperson? Hua Qinhuan was surprised. No. The first holographic game in the world, this gimmick alone was enough to attract a large wave of game fans. There was no need to attract any traffic at all. Therefore, from the beginning, they didn't intend to find anyone to endorse. But if the boss's wife asked for a spokesperson, it was not impossible to consider. You want an artist from your company to be the spokesperson for this game? Keep the goodies within the family. Su Yiyan had a sly look on her face. Can I? At the end of the month, Luo Weibing's contract with his brokerage company expired. 1 best actor and 1 best actress, their status is still enough. They won't let the game company suffer. As long as you're happy. It's settled then. Su Yiyan enjoyed the pleasure of nibbling on her husband. After solving the big problem in her heart, she thought about Ning Chirue's family. What did they talk about with you after I went up? Just some business matters. Business matters? They want to work with you? Yes. Is there nothing else apart from this? They didn't ask you to persuade me to treat Ning Xiyuan? Huo Chenhuan was slightly startled. At the same time she felt that it was natural. Her Yanyan was so smart. How could he not guess what those people were thinking? Yes. Su Yiyan's interest was instantly piqued. What did they tell you? Before Huo Chenhuan could finish, Su Yiyan reminded him first. Don't lie. Don't hide anything. Huo Chenhuan choked and said helplessly, they want me to persuade you to treat Ning Xiyuan by investing in cooperation with me. Chapter 382. This result was within Su Yiyan's expectations. She was just a little absent-minded. After reading the so-called original novel, Su Yiyan only understood in hindsight. Hua Xiaofeng's family was obviously incompetent, and Wen Jingping was obviously just an ordinary woman with no family background. Huo Chenhuan spent so much effort to completely destroy these scumbags in her previous life. Now, because of her involvement, these two families not only did not stand on Wen Jingping's side, but also took the initiative to seek cooperation with Huo Chenhuan. Did this mean that a lot of the plot had changed? She and Huo Chenhuan, and even her family would not end in tragedy like in her previous life? Yanyan. Yanyan, Huo Chenhuan's low voice pulled Su Yiyan's attention back. Did you promise them? No. Su Yiyan was anxious. What? What if Wen Jingping took advantage of such a good opportunity and took it back? I don't want to ask you to do something you don't like. Su Yiyan was stunned and immediately laughed. But I've already promised Ning Chirue that I would help his brother. Aren't you missing out on a great opportunity? Huo Chenhuan was not surprised by this result. His Yanyan was so kind. If someone sincerely asked for help, he would certainly help. Your promise means that you are willing to do this and you will be happy because of it. For me, this is the most important thing. Su Yiyan. Oh my God. Where did this guy learn to say so many sweet nothings? She couldn't take it anymore. Su Yiyan, who was a little dizzy from the sugar-coated words, could not hold on to her bottom line. When the driver in front was not paying attention, she leaned over and kissed Huo Chenhuan. Forget it, forget it. If they are sincere about cooperating with your company. Before Su Yiyan could finish, she was interrupted by Huo Chenhuan. Our company. Okay. If they were sincere about cooperating with our company, they would have come to us even without this incident. On the other hand, if they cooperated with other purposes, they would gather when the benefits were plentiful and disperse when the benefits were exhausted. When the time came, they would leave. The most frightening thing was that they would come back and stab you with a knife. That would be the real deal. Even if there really came a day where the plot, which had already deviated from its original track, returned to its original position, this group of people had not been able to defeat Huo Chenhuan in her previous life. This time, with her around, she would not let them succeed so easily. When the two of them returned home from the Ning residence, it was already dark. As soon as they got out of the car, they heard a burst of heart-wrenching dog barking, as well as the screams of men and women. The smile on Su Yiyan's face stiffened. She suddenly thought of something and hurriedly pushed Huo Chenhuan inside. By the time the two of them arrived at the house, the initial commotion had already subsided. A group of people stood in an empty space in the hall looking at something. Su Yiyan could vaguely see Roly-Poly's cold metal shell through the gaps in the crowd. Her heart could not help but tremble slightly. She asked in a low voice, "What happened?" Hearing her voice, the people who were originally surrounding her subconsciously turned around and looked in her direction. Su Yiyan was also proud of the scene in the middle of the crowd. Roly-Poly was still wearing the little apron she gave it in the morning, but its little hands had turned into huge shiny scissors. About half a meter away from it, a pitiful bald cub had curled itself into a ball and shut itself in. On the floor beside it, there were many brown and white, its fur. Chapter 383. Su Yiyan's face went blank for a moment. After a while, she finally found her voice. What's going on? Ahem. Uncle Zhang saw Su Yiyan asking and said truthfully, after young master and young mistress went out, Dun Dun kept circling Yuan Yuan. It followed Yuan Yuan when she swept the floor, and when Yuan Yuan went out to mow the lawn, it also followed. It even harassed Yuan Yuan a few times, but it was basically just small fights. Therefore, they didn't take it to heart at first. They only thought that this little guy saw that there was a new companion in the house that could move, work, and talk, so it kept harassing it because it was curious. They didn't expect that this distraction would cause problems. We saw that they were playing well at first, so we didn't pay too much attention. But we didn't expect Dun Dun to get angry at this time and keep pouncing on Yuan Yuan, trying to knock it down. Su Yiyan frowned. It wasn't that she didn't know about Dun Dun's hostility towards Yuan Yuan. She originally thought that this little guy would at least listen to her after nagging for so long. But now, it seemed that she was still taking it for granted. Dun Dun was quite fierce, but it wasn't as agile as Yuan Yuan. After Yuan Yuan dodged it a few times, it got angrier and wanted to bite Yuan Yuan's apron. So Yuan Yuan? Uncle Zhang's words were implicit, but Su Yiyan still quickly understood the ins and outs of the matter. In the end, this matter was that the brat found out that there was a new companion in the house, and it was afraid that it would fall out of favor. It was unhappy, so it tried its best to find trouble with its companion, wanting to put it in its place. But it didn't expect that its companion was a tough nut to crack. The brat didn't want to find trouble, but instead kicked an iron plate and got itself into trouble. When Yuan Yuan saw Su Yiyan, it was especially guilty and moved left and right on the spot a few times, probing, "Master, did Yuan Yuan do something wrong?" Su Yiyan's heart immediately softened when she heard its soft baby voice. Besides, it really couldn't be blamed for this matter. No, Yuan Yuan didn't do anything wrong. This is Dun Dun's fault. Master apologizes to you on behalf of Dun Dun. Roly-Poly's dark eyes lit up instantly and he said cheerfully, "Master, you don't have to apologize to Roly-Poly. Roly-Poly didn't lose out. However, Master, can you not let it bite Yuan Yuan's little apron?" The little apron was given to it by Master. Yuan Yuan likes it very much and doesn't want it to be bitten. Su Yiyan was stunned. She finally understood why the good-tempered Roly-Poly would suddenly do such a thing to Dun Dun. "Okay, Master will teach it a lesson and not let it bite your little apron again." Woof. The autistic Dun Dun realized that not only did his master not come to comfort him, but he even went to talk nicely to his new lover who had caused him to become like this. Dun Dun's heart sank. Sure enough, after losing its fur, it had become yesterday's flower. It had been completely defeated by this new little fairy. "Why are you here?" After knowing the ins and outs of the matter, and confirming that Dun Dun was not injured other than a few shaved patches of fur on its body, Su Yiyan quickly turned her attention to Ling Xiaoqi. Ling Xiaoqi touched her nose and laughed. "I wanted to say that I didn't have anything to do this weekend, so I brought Hua Hua over to see you guys. I didn't expect to see you the moment I came over." Ling Xiaoqi was in a fit of anger that day, and anxiously called Su Yiyan over to bring Dun Dun back. After calming down for a few days, she realized that she had lost control of her attitude that day, and wanted to bring Hua Hua over to apologize to Su Yiyan. Chapter 384. As she did not inform Su Yiyan in advance that she was coming, the two of them only found out that Su Yiyan and Hua Chenhuan had gone out together when they arrived at the family Hua. In the end, before she could apologize, she saw a big show. "This little robot belongs to your family? It's so cute. Its voice is so soft, just like a child's. It was just sent here this morning. It's called Yuan Yuan. Yuan Yuan, say hi to her." Su Yiyan had just spoken when Yuan Yuan stepped forward to greet Ling Xiaoqi. "Hello beautiful big sister, I'm the robot Yuan Yuan. I'm very sorry for letting you see this scene. Please accept Yuan Yuan's sincere apology." Yuan Yuan lowered its little round head as it spoke, looking as if it was blaming itself. Ling Xiaoqi exclaimed and looked it up and down. "This little fellow can even call me big sister and apologize to me. Where did you find such a magical little thing?" "Chenhuan Company's new product. It's fun, right? It can also clean the house, wash the clothes, and tidy the yard." "A housekeeping robot? Doesn't that mean I don't have to worry about housework anymore?" Su Yiyan smiled and did not explain. Dun Dun, who was lying on the ground and being ignored for a long time, watched its master and mother-in-law successively fall into the hands of others. This heartbroken cub subconsciously sought out Hua Hua's comfort, but it saw that the Hua Hua who had been protecting it wholeheartedly not long ago, actually showed a look of disdain towards it. It pattered back to its master's side and ignored it. Dun Dun's fiery male dog heart instantly shattered into countless pieces. Chenhuan Company's new toy is not particularly perfect yet. When it's completely developed, I'll give one to you. Su Yiyan had always been generous to those who were good to her, especially to Ling Xiaoqi, a good friend who had died tragically because of her in her previous life. Su Yiyan would always subconsciously want to help her more. Whenever there was something good, she would think of her first. Ling Xiaoqi's eyes lit up, but they quickly dimmed. "Forget it. This kind of robot isn't cheap. Our family only has Hua Hua and me. It's a waste to leave it there. Besides, our Hua Hua is very jealous. If I suddenly bring such a little thing home, she will definitely be jealous. I don't want to disturb my home. Dundon's ears perked up when he heard this, and he looked at his master with resentment. Master, listen to him, his thoughts, his awareness, he is indeed someone else's master. How could Su Yiyan not understand Ling Xiaoqi's meaning? He looked at his dog with disappointment. Ling Xiaoqi did not stay in the family Hua for too long. She had recently found a job and was preparing to go to work in the next 2 days. When she was about to go back, Su Yiyan suddenly thought of something when he heard that she was going to work. His face changed slightly. Wait, what's wrong? You're going to work. What kind of work? Where is it? What kind of work can it be? It's just an assistant translator. I just found it 2 days ago. I don't know where it is exactly. It's the Qian group in the south of the city. Su Yiyan's eyes flashed with a trace of understanding, and his face immediately became gloomy. Ling Xiaoqi was keenly aware that something was wrong with Su Yiyan. She wondered, what's wrong? Is there a problem with this group? Su Yiyan's heart moved slightly and he followed her words. Yes, there is a problem with this company. Whose assistant are you going to be? The general manager of their company. Is there a problem with him? Yes, there is a big problem. Chapter 385. Ling Xiaoqi was immediately frightened by Su Yiyan. What's the problem? The general manager of this group is the nephew of the boss. He is in his early 30s and has been married for a long time. He has 2 children, but he likes to cheat on women outside. I heard that several of his previous assistants resigned because they couldn't stand his sexual harassment. Ling Xiaoqi was shocked. Really? Of course it's true. Why would I lie to you? Su Yiyan said affirmatively, but a trace of coldness flashed in his eyes. Ling Xiaoqi didn't notice this, but Hua Qinhuan, who had been silently accompanying Su Yiyan, saw it all and frowned slightly. Ling Xiaoqi had always trusted Su Yiyan. She had left City A for a period of time, and she didn't have the family background of Su Yiyan. It was not surprising that she didn't know these rumors. Then I'll go back and quit this job and find another one. Su Yiyan expected Ling Xiaoqi's reaction. Because of her mother's matter, she was most disgusted with this kind of scumbag who had a wife at home and a wife outside, not to mention that this scumbag liked to cheat on women around him. What are you looking for? Our company just changed a lot of people not long ago and kicked out a group of people. Now we are in a state of shortage. You didn't say that you were looking for a job before. Isn't it better to directly enter my company and be a department manager in charge of external business? Ling Xiaoqi was stunned and whispered, this is not good. You have just taken over the company and you have already stuffed people into the company. What's not good about it? Su Yiyan looked at his friend with a faint smile. Do you have any misunderstanding about my position in the company, or about your own ability? Don't you have confidence in your own ability? Of course I have confidence in myself, but, before Ling Xiaoqi could finish her words, she was interrupted by Su Yiyan. That's enough. I know your ability very well. It would be our company's loss if we let you go. It's settled then. I'll get HR to contact you later. Come to work on time next week. Then, without giving Ling Xiaoqi a chance to refute, he directly pushed her out of the door. Ling Xiaoqi, who was standing at the door with Hua Hua in her arms, was dumbfounded. After sending off Ling Xiaoqi, Su Yiyan turned around and met his dog's aggrieved gaze. She recalled that when Ling Xiaoqi was about to leave just now, this guy repeated his old tricks and tried to cozy up to her, wanting to go home with her. Su Yiyan was so angry that she almost laughed. You just give up on running away with him. You did her daughter in front of him. It's already good enough that Xiaoqi didn't chop you into pieces. How can she lead a wolf into the house again? The more Dundun listened to her, the angrier he became. He moved his small body and turned back, facing her with his butt. Yo, you're still angry. Tell me, what did I tell you before I left? Don't bully Yuan, don't bully Yuan. You two are going to live together and you have to love each other. But I just left and you went to harass her. I spoiled you too much, causing you to be so lawless at home now. Look at you and then look at Yuan. Yuan can eat her fill just by basking in the sun. She can also help clean the house and do housework. She's obedient, sensible, and capable. Unlike you, who eats fragrant dog food and is carried around like a little emperor all day long. You're still so domineering and willful. Dun dun? Master, are you implying that I eat a lot? Now that the little vixen entered the door, this baby won't even have a full meal in the future. Chapter 386. Su Yiyan didn't know that the dog only listened to one sentence after he said so much. He sighed and said, "This time I'll take it as a lesson for you. You're not allowed to go out before your fur is fully grown. Stay at home and reflect on your mistakes." Dun Dun lay on the ground motionlessly, and even its ears drooped down. "I don't want to listen, I don't want to listen. I'll be a little cabbage that no one wants in the future, woo-woo." Su Yiyan squatted on the side and looked at it for a long time without any reaction. He then glanced at the protruding fur on its body, and his heart softened. He rubbed its head helplessly and didn't nag anymore. After instructing the servants at home to take good care of Dun Dun so that it wouldn't run away from home when they weren't paying attention, Su Yiyan finally heaved a sigh of relief. He turned his head and met his man's probing gaze. "What's wrong? Why didn't you want your friend to go to that company just now?" The expression on Su Yiyan's face stiffened slightly. "Didn't I say just now? That general manager's private life is messy, and I'm afraid that she will suffer. Moreover, I also want her to enter my company." "Really?" Huo Chenhuan stared at Su Yiyan's eyes and said in a deep voice, "You don't have to say it if you don't want to, but don't lie to me." Su Yiyan pursed his lips and finally admitted defeat under Huo Chenhuan's gaze. "Okay, I admit that what I said just now was just an excuse. The real reason is because of Xiaoqi's father." "Her father?" "This matter is Xiaoqi's family matter, but she shouldn't mind being known by others. Xiaoqi's biological father is a scumbag. When he was in college, he coaxed Xiaoqi's mother to be his girlfriend for a period of time, but in fact he already had an engagement with another girl and was preparing to get married as soon as he graduated." Huo Chenhuan's eyes turned cold. This story sounded familiar, but since Su Yiyan had used the word cheat, it was likely that the subsequent events would be completely different from Huo Xiaofeng and the others. Xiaoqi's mother found out about this by chance. At that time she was already pregnant with Xiaoqi. In a fit of anger she cut off all contact with Xiaoqi's biological father and ran away with Xiaoqi. "So, what you're saying is related to her father? Xiaoqi's biological father has some friendship with the chairman of Qiyan Group that she just mentioned. I'm afraid that after she enters that company, she might meet someone she shouldn't meet and be pestered." It was also because she had been so busy recently that she had forgotten about this matter and almost caused Ling Xiaoqi to fall into the fire pit again. "Actually, what I said to Xiaoqi just now isn't all fake. At least, that general manager isn't a good person." Su Yiyan also only found out about this matter after Ling Xiaoqi returned to her scumbag father's house. This general manager of Qiyan Group was indeed a fickle scumbag who couldn't control his lower body. It was just that his father-in-law happened to be a director of that company. Although he liked to play, he didn't dare to let his father-in-law know about his disgraceful affairs outside. At least, he didn't dare to make a fuss about this matter in the company and make his father-in-law lose face. Therefore, before Ling Xiaoqi, he didn't make a move on the female employees in the company. But after Ling Xiaoqi became his assistant, this general manager didn't know whether it was because he saw that Ling Xiaoqi was beautiful or because he had hinted to Ling Xiaoqi several times, but Ling Xiaoqi was indifferent. Instead, it aroused his desire to conquer her. He actually brazenly asked Ling Xiaoqi for a hidden rule. He even tried to force himself on her after Ling Xiaoqi refused. Chapter 387. Although she didn't succeed in the end, Su Yiyan still gritted her teeth in anger when she thought about it. In short, if Xiaoqi enters that company, it will be no different from carrying a time bomb. It's fine if I didn't know before, but now that I know, I definitely can't watch her jump into the fire pit. After hearing Su Yiyan's words, Huo Chenhuan only frowned and asked, "What does she think of this biological father?" He didn't want his baby to spend so much effort to protect her, only to be resented in the end. Xiaoqi has a good relationship with her mother, and her mother has never hidden the matter of her biological father from her, so she hates this father very much and has never thought of acknowledging him. Taking a step back, even if the current Ling Xiaoqi still had expectations for this father, Su Yiyan would never let Ling Xiaoqi have too much contact with her scumbag father when she thought of the various torments she suffered when she returned to that family in her previous life. "That's good." Huo Chenhuan pondered for a moment and reminded in a low voice, "But I'm afraid this matter won't be so easy to hide, especially under the premise that one party wants to find out. Su Yiyin's expression was solemn. Obviously, she was also a little worried about this. Let's take one step at a time. After going to the Su family, Su Yiyin quickly became busy again. She first sent Yi Qiliang some book content for next week's class and asked him to help make a simulation doll with various acupoints on the human body so that it would be convenient for her to use when teaching acupuncture. As mentioned before, after the disappearance of Chinese medicinal herbs, Chinese medicine gradually weakened and declined, and many related materials were also lost. The word acupuncture was something that Yi Qiliang accidentally saw from an ancient book. He knew that there was such a thing, but he didn't know the principle. After receiving the three-dimensional acupoint structures sent by Su Yiyin, Yi Qiliang hurriedly agreed to Su Yiyin's various requests and said that he would definitely prepare the things she wanted by next weekend. At the same time, he returned the favor by sending Su Yiyin the letter of guarantee that he had drafted earlier for the students to fill in. Su Yiyin glanced at the letter and realized that in addition to the requirements that he had mentioned before, there were also some additional guarantees. For example, students participating in this class are not allowed to teach what they have learned to others without the permission of the teacher and the school. You are not allowed to use the teacher's name to attract attention and gain benefits. Was Yi Qiliang trying to monopolize all this knowledge within a university and make it the school's specialty? Of course not. Even Su Yiyin, the person involved, could be so generous and not hide anything. As a middleman, he could at most be considered as a bridge between the two parties. No one wanted this knowledge to be passed down and recognized by the public more than him. However, Su Yiyin's previous requests made him realize that he had been too impatient. Humans had a certain amount of time to accept new things, and this period of time was crucial for them. Once someone made a mistake during this period of time, people would preemptively think that it was something bad. Su Yiyin's previous requirements were only to restrain the students. She did not want them to use these things to harm the patients who were already in pain. Yi Qiliang's conditions were obviously more complete. Not only did they restrict the students, but they also prevented some students from being teachers and teaching others before they had mastered the knowledge. They also allowed those half-baked people to go out and swindle others and ruin the reputation of Chinese medicine. Chapter 388. Su Yiyin did not expect that her previous requests would make Yi Qiliang think so far ahead. She secretly sighed. The old man was experienced and knowledgeable, and his vision was more far-sighted than the young. Su Yiyin certainly had no reason to refuse such terms that were beneficial to her. She immediately asked Yi Qiliang to implement these guarantees as soon as possible. Yi Qiliang helped to look after the school's affairs. Luo Weibing also successfully signed a 10-year contract with Dongqing City before the end of the month. The company's newcomers also worked hard to get the resources. After the big change, the company gradually got on the right track. Everything was so smooth. But what made Su Yiyin most happy was that Huo Qinhuan's legs finally had a qualitative change after more than a month of unremitting efforts. Can you feel it if I pinch it like this? Su Yiyin's hand pinched his knee. Yes. How about here? Her hand began to move down. Yes. How about this? Su Yiyin suppressed her excitement. Instead of pinching, she touched. Before Huo Qinhuan could answer, his hand was grabbed by Huo Jinyao. If you continue to touch like this, I can't guarantee that nothing will happen. What? Su Yiyin was stunned for a few seconds before she realized what Huo Qinhuan meant. She stood up and said with a red face, I'm talking about your legs. Don't change the subject. Then she seemed to be afraid that Huo Qinhuan would change the subject. She took a deep breath and said with her eyes shining, You can feel it if I touch it gently, right? Huo Qinhuan looked at Su Yiyin's bright eyes, and his heart trembled. He couldn't feel his legs since he woke up from the car accident. They were still there, but they were cold like decorations. He couldn't move or jump, let alone stand up. But now he could feel the subtle strength of the hand attached to his legs. His originally cold legs seemed to have come alive at this moment. The boiling blood flowed through the invisible blood vessels to every part of his body, warming him up completely. Great, it means that the blood vessels are opened. They are recovering little by little. Su Yiyin's eyes were red. She held Huo Qinhuan's hand tightly and said excitedly, Wait, you can stand up soon. Huo Qinhuan held Su Yiyin's hand and joked. In fact, I think my other disease is recovering well. I should be completely cured before I stand up. Su Yiyin was slightly taken aback. After realizing what Huo Qinhuan was talking about, she subconsciously lowered her head and glanced at him. Ahem. Let's talk about the rest after your leg recovers. Su Yayan pulled her hand back. Your leg has shrunk a little after not walking for so many years. I'll ask Jianghu to prepare a room for you to do recovery training. After saying that, Su Yayan turned around and ran, as if there was a terrible beast chasing after her. The moment she turned around, Huo Qinhuan could faintly see the side of her face and the tips of her ears, which looked like cooked shrimp. Huo Qinhuan looked at Su Yiyan's back as she left. His eyes were full of smiles, but then his smile became deep and attractive like the surface of the water when the breeze blew over. Once upon a time, he thought that he would never be able to stand up in this lifetime, let alone have the love of his life. Now, not only did he see the hope of standing up, but in the near future, he might even have a child with her. Chapter 389. Downstairs, Uncle Zhang was watching with great interest as Yuan manipulated the two familiar scissors and skillfully trimmed the flowers and plants in the yard. Upon hearing Su Yiyan's request, the old man who had been in the family Hua for most of his life, was stunned for a moment. You mean, Shu? Su Yiyan made a shushing gesture at Uncle Zhang. I hope that not too many people know about this before the dust settles. Qinhuan is not suitable to be disturbed now. Uncle Zhang immediately understood the meaning behind Su Yiyan's words and confirmed his thoughts. His eyes reddened and his whole body trembled uncontrollably. He knew that his young madam had been secretly treating his young master's legs during this period of time. Every morning he would wake up early and personally go to their room to pack the dregs of the medicinal herbs and dispose of them. These were all used by them to bathe or soak their feet the night before. Before this, Uncle Zhang was skeptical of Su Yiyan's actions, or rather he did not think highly of them. However, since the young couple had the intention and the young master was willing to cooperate, he could not say anything and just treated it as a couple's love affair. Unexpectedly, okay. I'll do it now. I'll do it secretly. Su Yiyan saw that he was so cooperative and was slightly relieved. Although the servants in this house were basically old people who had been here for a few years, most of them were not particularly close to Huo Qinhuan. Only the old housekeeper had watched Huo Qinhuan grow up, so Su Yiyan only trusted him. The improvement of Huo Qinhuan's legs made Su Yiyan feel very good for the next few days. However, this good mood did not last long and was destroyed by a terrible matter. Someone went to the restaurant to make trouble? Su Yiyan, who was sitting in the general manager's office in Dongqing City and dealing with documents, received a call from Li Jingwen. What's going on? This is what happened. During lunchtime, a middle-aged man suddenly barged into our shop with an old lady's death certificate. He said that our medicinal cuisine killed his old lady and demanded compensation. We've encountered this a few times before, and we didn't pay much attention to it at first. We just wanted to find out what he spent at the store. Wait, how many times have you encountered it before? Only then did Li Jingwen realize that he had spilled the beans, and he couldn't help but feel a little embarrassed. Tell me honestly what you've encountered before. Okay. It turned out that as early as a few days ago, there were people frequently looking for trouble. At first, a middle-aged woman came to their door and said that she had eaten lunch at their restaurant and had a stomachache in the afternoon. She made a scene on the spot and scolded their food for being unclean, saying that they were black-hearted and unscrupulous merchants who murdered for money. Li Jingwen and the others were so angry that they immediately asked the middle-aged woman to come to the store to pay for the receipt or identification. The middle-aged woman refused to cooperate and insisted that they didn't want to compensate her and were deliberately making things difficult for her. Li Jingwen and the others directly called the police. With the help of the police, they obtained the middle-aged woman's identification and found that she had never spent money in their store. The middle-aged woman still wanted to quibble, but there were so many pairs of eyes in the store, and they were not just for decoration. In the end, she was taken away by the police and detained. Li Jingwen and the others thought that this was the end of the matter. They didn't expect that about 3 days later, a customer who came to the store to spend money suddenly complained of a stomachache after eating. She questioned whether their food was clean and found a cockroach in the food. Chapter 390. Li Jingwen and the others realized that something was wrong at that time and reacted quickly. In front of all the customers, they pulled out more than a dozen surveillance cameras in the restaurant and zoomed in on how the man had secretly hidden the cockroach in the food. When the man saw that the matter had been exposed, he took advantage of the crowd's heated discussion to push them away and escape in a sorry state. It was the first time Su Yiyan heard about this, and her face became more and more ugly. Why didn't you tell me this before? Li Jingwen also felt very guilty. At that time they also wanted to tell Su Yiyan about this matter. But when they thought about how busy Su Yiyan was, and that they had smoothly resolved these two matters without causing any trouble. If someone really wanted to mess with them, they should know when to stop after being thwarted twice in a row and temporarily stop. Who would have thought that on the second day something like this would happen again? Su Yiyan also knew that now was not the time to pursue this matter. She said coldly, "Let's not talk about the previous matter first. Tell me about today's matter in detail. What happened after that man said that our medicinal cuisine killed his family's old lady?" Su Yiyan said as she walked out. "After that, we wanted to pull out his consumption records to see if he deliberately came to blackmail us like the woman before. In the end, before we had time to check, people from the relevant departments arrived." Relevant departments? What are they doing here? They said that they received a report from a customer and came to our restaurant to check the safety of our food. Su Yiyan narrowed her eyes. Just when a customer came to make trouble, the relevant departments came to check. She really did not believe that there was nothing wrong with it. "Have they left now?" "No." Li Jingwen lowered his voice and said, "Liang and the others just heard from those people that our restaurant has a lot of medicinal cuisine. It may take a few days to analyze the internal composition of these things. Our restaurant has to be closed for a few days. We can only determine whether our restaurant can continue to operate after they come out with the results." Su Yiyan sat in the car. When she heard Li Jingwen's words, her heart suddenly skipped a beat. She suddenly understood the intention of the person behind this. Before the relevant departments came to their door, they had caused such a farce. Before they could clarify, the restaurant had to be temporarily closed for cooperation with the investigation. Su Yiyan could already imagine what kind of criticism her restaurant would suffer during the few days it was closed. Even after the relevant departments finished the inspection and proved that there was nothing wrong with the medicinal cuisine in their restaurant, some people would not come to their restaurant for psychological reasons. Su Yiyan did not care about the loss of those customers, but this did not mean that she could tolerate others' blatant scheming and humiliating and slandering her restaurant. Everyone realized that something was wrong. "They are still in the shop. What about the customers?" "It happened so suddenly that we sent away all the customers in the store. I took the liberty of waiving the expenses of those who were still in the store." Liang and the others tried to pacify them, telling them that this was just a routine inspection and nothing went wrong. "Now you temporarily stabilize the inspectors over there. I'll go over right away." Su Yiyan knew that it was inevitable that her subordinates would panic when they suddenly encountered such a thing, so she timely comforted them. "Don't panic. There is absolutely nothing wrong with the medicinal cuisine in our restaurant. You have to have confidence in yourselves. Don't panic." Chapter 391. When Li Jingwen heard Su Yiyan's words, he felt relieved and hurriedly said, "Okay, I understand. Don't worry, before you come over we will guard the store well." After Su Yiyan hung up the phone, she still felt uneasy. After hesitating for a moment, she called Yi Qiuyang and briefly explained what had happened in the store to him. Yi Qiuyang could be considered as someone who had seen many storms and waves. Just from Su Yiyan's words he could tell that something was fishy. He could also roughly guess the purpose of Su Yiyan's call. He immediately said, "This matter is a little strange. How about this? I'll ask my student to contact his old friend in the inspection department and ask him to take some time to go to your place. With him around, those inspectors won't dare to act recklessly. Then I'll have to trouble Professor Yi." After finding external help, Su Yiyan subconsciously searched for the news. Sure enough, she saw that the red article at the top was talking about her store. Gossip Network's popular streamer's food has killed someone. The relevant departments have come to inspect. Popular food streamer's food is suspected to have been spiked with illegal drugs. Now closed for inspection. Because this news website had already exploded, there were all kinds of comments. Although there were some diehard fans who supported her, there were more keyboard warriors who wanted to see the world in chaos. There were also passers-by who were misled by the news and directly stood against Su Yiyan. Of course, there were also some streamers who were jealous of her but couldn't do anything to her. Similar to, "I really don't know how she became popular. Her food is terrible, but there are still people who support her, hype bis." Every day they find people to spend money in the live broadcast room to hype her up. Do they really think everyone is a fool? If I knew this would happen, I would have deserved it. And so on. There were countless comments that were jealous of the rich. Even the fact that she didn't show her face was once again used to ridicule her. Some people even directly pointed out that she was an old woman in her 40s. She was old enough to be a mother or even a grandmother to the audience, but there was still a group of people who supported her. It was really disgusting. Looking at these sharp and unpleasant personal attacks, Su Yiyan was lying if she said that she wasn't angry. However, she also understood that someone must have been behind the incident that had just occurred in her shop, and there had been a report about it immediately on the internet. Furthermore, it was so detailed. There was a high chance that someone was manipulating these comments behind the scenes. Su Yiyan suppressed the anger in her heart and rationally chose to ask her man for help. As soon as the call connected, Hua Qinhuan's voice came through first. "Yanyan, where are you now?" "I'm on my way to the restaurant." "The restaurant? I know. Do you want to go there now?" Hua Qinhuan interrupted Su Yiyan and frowned. "Don't go there yet." "But, I've already Sent Yan Bai to deal with it. Tell your employees that Yan Bai is the store manager." Su Yiyan's pupils shrank. She couldn't react for a moment. "Yan Bai is the store manager? What? You should have noticed that this wasn't a coincidence. The other party clearly came prepared. If you go there rashly, it's hard to guarantee that he won't use this as a pretext to make a fuss." With Hua Qinhuan's reminder, Su Yiyan's brain finally came around. "Are you suspecting that the reason that person did all this was to force me out?" Hua Qinhuan's eyes turned cold. That's not impossible. As long as there was a possibility, he couldn't let Su Yiyan take such a risk so recklessly. Chapter 392. Su Yiyan, who had been dizzy with anger, calmed down a little after hearing Hua Qinhuan's words. "But why would they do that? You haven't shown your face before. Maybe they're curious, or maybe they want to know your identity so they can deal with you better. No matter what, don't go there. Leave it to Yan Bai. He knows what to do." Although Su Yiyan wasn't worried about the situation in the store, she understood that Hua Qinhuan wouldn't hurt her. She responded in a low voice, "By the way, I'm worried that there's something wrong with the people doing the testing, so I asked Professor Yi to invite the relevant personnel to help. Remember to tell Yan Bai so that there won't be any mistakes." Okay. In addition to this, those internet celebrities who are spreading rumors online have probably been bribed as well. I want you to help me find out who's behind this. Su Yiyan didn't forget the great achievement of her Mr. Room manager, who had blocked tens of thousands of internet trolls overnight. "I'm already investigating." Hua Qinhuan thought of the comments attacking Su Yiyan on the internet, and her face suddenly became gloomy. "I'll tell you when the results are out." After chatting with Hua Qinhuan for a while, Su Yiyan completely calmed down. She called Li Jingwen again and told him that Zui Yanbai was going there. She also sent him a photo of Zui Yanbai that she got from Hua Qinhuan, so that he wouldn't be unable to recognize him when he saw him later. In addition, she also asked Li Jingwen to broadcast the situation live to her. If something really happened, she would be able to keep some material. Zui Yanbai's location was very close to the restaurant. About 10 minutes later, he appeared in the store. Li Jingwen and the others had seen his photo in advance. When they saw him enter, they immediately went forward and greeted him as their boss. Zui Yanbai nodded calmly and followed Li Jingwen's guidance to meet the testing personnel. "Hello, I'm the owner of this shop. Is there a problem with our shop?" The inspectors looked at each other and said in a businesslike manner, "Here's the thing. We received a complaint letter about your store. The letter mentioned that you secretly added illegal drugs that are harmful to human health in your food. We're here to test it. If there's nothing wrong with it, we'll help you clarify it." There was nothing wrong with his explanation. Zui Yanbai nodded cooperatively, but out of caution he reminded them, "Our restaurant is a medicated cuisine restaurant. The medicated cuisine here is a personal menu that is tailored to the individual's physique. I hope you can take this into consideration when you test it." The few of them were stunned. They hadn't thought of this. "Okay, we'll report this to our superiors. Can we take a sample now?" "Sure, but there are many types of medicinal cuisine in our restaurant. Do you want to sample every dish?" "It's best to take a sample and test it." Zui Yanbai saw that they had all kinds of equipment and certificates, so he had no objections. He said to Li Jingwen, "Take these gentlemen with you and pick a few trustworthy ones to follow them. This was to prevent anyone from tampering with the samples. Li Jingwen obviously understood this point. He picked a few people to follow them to the small kitchen. Because the incident had happened so suddenly, there was still a lot of soup and porridge in the kitchen. As soon as they entered, they smelled a rather obvious aroma of food. They hadn't had time to eat yet, so their stomachs grumbled uncontrollably. Grumble, everyone. Chapter 393. Ahem. The head inspector, who was also the one whose stomach was growling, cleared his throat and tried to save his dignity. Are these the medicinal cuisines in your shop? Yes. Li Jingwen immediately stepped forward and introduced the dishes to them. This is the yam-cooked black chicken soup to prevent hair loss. This is the sesame kelp cake to treat white hair. This is the motherwort egg soup to treat menstrual cramps. This is the seahorse bone soup to treat premature ejaculation. This is the abalone ginseng soup to improve fertility. As they listened to Li Jingwen's introduction one after another, they almost thought that they had accidentally stumbled into a marketing organization. Treating hair loss, menstrual cramps, treating premature ejaculation, and improving fertility. No wonder someone reported them. If they were in Li Jingwen's shoes, their first reaction would be to think that these people were scammers. After talking for a long time, Li Jingwen subconsciously looked back at them and asked in confusion, "Aren't you going to record it down?" Yes. Record it all down. He wanted to see if these things really had such an effect. Therefore they were divided into two groups. One group was responsible for taking samples, and the other group was responsible for recording Li Jingwen's introduction. By the time they finished taking samples, the person Yi Qiliang found finally arrived. Director? The people in charge of taking samples were shocked when they saw the person. When he spoke, Li Jingwen and the others couldn't help but be startled. They looked at the person in surprise. It was a middle-aged man in his 40s or 50s. He had a square face and looked a little fierce at first glance. However, after getting used to it, one would feel that he was majestic and righteous. Su Yiyin, who was watching everything through the hidden camera in Li Jingwen's pocket, was also shocked. She never expected that the so-called student friend Yi Qiliang mentioned was actually the director of this inspection department. With such a person around, these people had to be cautious and conscientious. Who would dare to mess around? You guys. Qin Yang looked at them inquisitively. Why are you here? Zui Yinbai's eyes flashed. She immediately understood that these people were indeed members of the relevant department. They looked at each other. We received a report and are here to check the hygiene and safety of this shop. Qin Yang frowned and didn't say anything, but Zui Yinbai said at the right time, we do add some Chinese herbs to the medicinal cuisine in our restaurant, but these herbs are not only harmless to the human body, but also can help the customers recuperate. I hope that everyone will be able to tell the truth after the test and prove our innocence. Zui Yinbai's words had already expressed the attitude of their restaurant. They didn't ask for favoritism but sought truth from facts. They were innocent and had never done anything to harm their customers for the sake of profit. The serious expression on Qin Yang's face eased a little. He nodded and promised, of course. If the test results show that there is no problem, we will definitely help you clarify. Then I'll have to trouble you all. Qin Yang came in a hurry and left in a hurry. He left with a few inspectors. The people in the shop watched them leave. They were relieved but also a little disappointed. Their restaurant had been made a scapegoat for no reason. Not only were they forced to close down, but their lunch was also almost done. Now it was all wasted. Zui Yinbai obviously thought of this as well. Her eyes lit up as she stared at the row of tonics that were said to prevent hair loss and hair growth. Chapter 394. Well? Zui Yinbai was a business elite who wore a suit and leather shoes all year round, so it was a little difficult for him to speak. What are you going to do with these things? What else can we do? Drink it yourself or take it home for your family to drink, Qing Yuqing said with a bitter expression. Recently, a lot of people have come to our store for this kind of medicinal cuisine to treat hair loss. Just this afternoon alone, there are enough portions for 30 to 40 people. Now that they've run away, not only will we lose money but we'll also waste some of it. Which immoral bastard reported us? What a rotten heart. When Zui Yinbai heard her say this, he couldn't help but look happy. Since it's a waste to keep it, please calculate the price of these soups. I want to take them all back. All of them? As soon as Zui Yinbai's words came out, everyone in the room focused their attention on him. Even Su Yiyin, who was behind the camera, was shocked. She thought that he had received instructions from Huo Chenhuan and was worried about the loss of the store, so he wanted to help make up for it. She hurriedly called Li Jingguan and asked him to pass the phone to Zui Yinbai. Yinbai, thank you for coming over to help today. You don't have to worry about the mess in the store. They'll take care of it. When Zui Yinbai heard Su Yiyin's words, he immediately became anxious. No. Since I'm here, I won't do anything about it. But that's too much trouble for you. Besides, you can't eat so much by yourself. Giving it to relatives or friends may not be the right thing to do. In the end, it'll still be a waste. It won't be a waste. Zui Yinbai's voice suddenly rose. All the employees in our company knew that young Madam's shop has medicinal cuisine that can promote hair growth, and they all wanted to reserve it. Unfortunately, young Madam's shop is so popular that the reservation slots have been booked for months. Huh? Su Yiyin's persuasion came to an abrupt end. She was stunned. Really? Why didn't you mention it to me before? I was too embarrassed to mention it before. I was also worried that it would burden you. Zui Yinbai didn't mention that he had asked Huo Chenhuan to help persuade her when he sent the robot last time. But today is an exception. It's a waste for you to keep it. Why don't you let me buy it and bring it back to them? Believe me, they're definitely willing to help young Madam solve these things. Su Yiyin was speechless. Don't think that I can't hear the excitement hidden under your righteousness. Although I know that you like the medicinal cuisine in my shop, and I believe that these things are safe and useful, I still don't know what to say. But my shop has just been investigated, and you're so happy that I can't help but suspect that you're gloating. Zui Yinbai was indeed taking pleasure in other people's misfortune. In his opinion, his company definitely had the ability to take care of all the medicinal cuisine in this room. Even if some people might not have the right symptoms, there were still Gu Xiaoyang and Yu Xian's employees. He believed that these people were just like the people in his company. They were very happy to help their young madam solve her problems. Although the relevant departments had closed down their shop and chased away the customers, they had collectively picked up a loophole. How could he not be happy? The corners of Su Yiyin's mouth twitched slightly. She said helplessly, all right. In that case, call them and confirm it with them first. The medicinal cuisine in my shop must be suitable for the symptoms. You can't mess around. If it's not enough, I'll ask Yishuan and the others to prepare some for you. There's no need for money. Just treat it as a reward for the company's employees. Also, thank them for helping me and Chenhuan. Chapter 395. Since Su Yiyin had said so, Zui Yinbai had no reason to refuse. He immediately sent a message to his company's group chat. Minister, Madam is rewarding all the employees by giving us benefits. 10 minutes from now, all of you will report the conditions you need to recuperate. I will pack them up and bring them back. First come, first served. No waiting for you. As soon as this notice was sent out, it immediately caused a commotion in the group chat. Bitterly working dog number 1, are you serious? Minister, of course. I'm in Madam's shop right now. 30 seconds have passed. Time is limited. Seize the opportunity. When everyone received an affirmative answer, they didn't care that it was still working hours. They all cheered. What? Madam's shop had just been closed down and there might be problems with the things she sold? Their company's benefits were the best they had ever seen in their lives. Their boss had no reason to cheat his own employees. Moreover, as long as the food could make them grow hair, they would eat it even if it was poison. Bitterly working dog number 1, Greasy Baldy reporting. Bitterly working dog number 2, Greasy Baldy +1. Bitterly working dog number 3, Greasy Baldy +2. Bitterly working dog number 20, Greasy Baldy +19. Bitterly working dog number 21, Dry Baldy is here. Bitterly working dog number 22, Dry Baldy +1, is Zui Yinbai. Looking at the orderly summary of their numbers, it was obvious that they were die-hard viewers who had watched Madam's live broadcast. It was a rare opportunity and no one wanted to miss it. After the Baldy at the front reported their numbers, employees with related needs such as little white hair and dysmenorrhea joined in one after another. Occasionally, there were 1 or 2 employees with conditions that were difficult to talk about. Although they didn't report their numbers in the group chat, they still sent him a private message through a small window. 10 minutes later, Zui Yinbai reported the numbers. Not only did they sell out the almost ready stock in the shop, but they also had to add a few more orders. It was obvious that the employees were hungry. The employees in the shop, Su Yiyan. Fine. After solving the mess in the store, Su Yiyan asked Li Jingwen and the others to go back and wait for news. It just so happened that the shop was always full during this period of time. They had worked hard so they could take advantage of this opportunity to rest for 2 more days. They were resting, but the other group of people had to work overtime to investigate the mastermind behind all this. The people in Zuyenbai were fine. They brought back the medicinal cuisine that was hard to buy even with 1,000 taels of gold and sent their condolences. Everyone seemed to have been injected with chicken blood and were full of energy. Compared to him, Gu Xiaoyang and Yu Zian were in a miserable state. They had been busy for a long time and had lost countless brain cells, but they didn't even have a hot meal. Although the 3 of them belonged to 3 different companies because of their good relationship, their social circles were almost the same. Friends were like that and so were employees. As a result, the employees of the 2 companies who were also working overtime watched their colleagues from Zuyenbai Company happily post a bunch of medicinal cuisine pictures and add captions. After a busy day, all my tiredness turned into satisfaction and joy the moment I drank the medicinal cuisine condolence soup sent by the boss's wife. I love the company, I love the boss, I love the boss's wife. Moi. The employees of the 2 companies who were tragically left alone felt like their little hearts had been poked into hedgehogs, and they were bleeding profusely. Moi my ass. It was bad enough that they secretly ate the good stuff, but they even posted it and showed it off. They were simply too much. Chapter 396. Feeling that they had been treated unfairly, the majority of employees decisively brought this matter to the person in charge of their company. Why do they get to work overtime but we don't? Why do they get to eat boss's wife's medicinal cuisine but we don't? Why do they get to show off to their friends but we don't? Why? Gu Xiaoyang and Yu Zian also wanted to ask why. They were the same employees and their efforts were no less than those of Zuyenbai. Why didn't they get any benefits? Why didn't they get to eat? Filled with anger, the 2 of them decisively targeted Zuyenbai and started a small group of 3 to denounce him. Zuyenbai, you scumbag, you're eating alone behind our backs again. Yu Zian's roar was deafening, and Zuyenbai, who was still immersed in the joy of picking up the leftovers, was directly shocked into the group. What do you mean by eating alone? This is young madam's reward for my conscientious and hard work. Nonsense. Aren't we conscientious and hard work too? Don't find excuses for eating alone. You're a villain. Yes, don't find excuses. Don't think that I don't know that you also brought food back for your employees. After being brothers for so many years, I only found out today that we can't even compare to your employees. I was wrong about you. Zuyenbai. Was it worth it just for 2 mouthfuls of food? His tone made him sound like a heartless scumbag. What did he do to him? Yu Zian, bastard. Gu Xiaoyang, scumbag. Yu Zian, traitor. Gu Xiaoyang, bitch. Yu Zian, heartless man. Gu Xiaoyang, chin shimmy. Yu Zian, zhou bapi. Gu Xiaoyang, trash. Zuyenbai. You 2 drama queens, can you not act so much? After the 2 of them bombarded the heartless scumbag in the group, they still felt depressed and decisively ran to Huo Qinhuan's side to tell on him. At the same time, they expressed that young madam's favoritism would hurt their brothers and sisters' hearts. They strongly requested that everyone be treated equally, and that what Zuyenbai had, they should have as well. Huo Qinhuan was also a little confused when he received their complaints. He happened to see Su Yayan walking in from outside and asked blankly, "You asked Yanbai to take away all the medicinal cuisine in your shop?" Su Yayan was taken aback. That's right. When the inspection staff came, all the customers in the shop were dismissed. It would be a waste to keep the leftover soup stewing on the fire, so I asked him to take it back to reward the staff. Could it be that when these things were taken out, they were seen by someone and reported again? The corner of Huo Qinhuan's mouth twitched. After Yanbai took those things back, some employees took pictures and videos and posted them on the internet. The people at Quilt Banquet and Xiaoyang saw them. And the other employees are dissatisfied with your favoritism, so they want you to treat them equally and give them some small benefits. Su Yiyan blinked. She never expected this. She laughed and said, "Sure, but we have to wait for the test results in the next few days. I've asked everyone in the restaurant to go home and rest. When the test results are out, I'll ask them to make some things to reward these friends who worked hard." Hua Chenhuan was amused by the word friends, and replied in a low voice, "Okay." Then she seemed to have thought of something and her face darkened. "By the way, I have some clues about the things you asked me to investigate." Chapter 397. So fast. Su Yin's face was full of surprise. She thought it would take at least 3 or 4 days to find the mastermind behind the scenes. "It's not that fast. These people have been causing trouble for you for a few days in a row. There are loopholes everywhere, so it's easy to find out. Moreover, this matter seems to be a big deal, but it's not particularly clever." Su Yin thought about it and agreed. Although the other party tried to use public opinion to tarnish the restaurant's reputation, he did not bribe the inspectors who came to inspect it. In other words, he did not have the ability to bribe them. "Who is it?" "It's the manager of a high-end restaurant. His name is Lu Dachui." "Lu Dachui?" Su Yin was so surprised not only because the name was too ordinary or even perfunctory, but also because she had some impression of this person. Lu Dachui was a villain in the original work. He ran a high-end restaurant called Manlu Fragrance. This restaurant's business in City A was not bad. The reason why it provoked Wen Jingping was that several home-cooked dishes that Wen Jingping made during her live broadcast coincided with several dishes in their restaurant. Because of this, their restaurant's business was inevitably affected. Lu Dachui also believed that his chef's recipe had been leaked by someone with ulterior motives. Wen Jingping was a chess piece placed in the open by the mastermind behind the scenes who wanted to destroy their restaurant. If she was allowed to continue her live broadcast, the restaurant's business would be ruined by her sooner or later. Because of this, Lu Dachui began to secretly go against Wen Jingping. However, from this extremely perfunctory name, it could be seen that this was a villain arranged by the author to serve as a stepping stone for the protagonist in the early stages. Lu Dachui's actions quickly alarmed Hua Xiaofeng. Not only did it not affect Wen Jingping's live broadcast career, but it also suffered the consequences of its own actions. It successfully helped Wen Jingping gain a lot of sympathy from passers-by and further increased her popularity. Now, because of her, the livestream platform decisively chose her when the two of them were fighting and banned Wen Jingping. In addition, Wen Jingping's previous tricks allowed her to successfully seize some of the opportunities that originally belonged to the female lead. This little villain's target had changed from Wen Jingping to a her? High-class restaurant? Does he think I'm stealing his business? I think so. Was he the one who hired the water army online? Was he the one who wrote the report? Yes. Do you have any evidence? Yes. After Hua Chenhuan finished speaking, he added, "He bribed those troublemakers to deliberately cause trouble for your shop. We've already found the evidence." Su Yiyin turned to look at Hua Chenhuan. She felt that Hua Chenhuan was asking for praise from her tone. Thinking of this, she immediately exclaimed exaggeratedly, "Really? Hubby, you're amazing. How did you find out about such a secret so quickly?" Hua Chenhuan's body trembled, and the redness on her face quickly spread from her neck to the back of her ears. "These are just basic operations. It's not that exaggerated." Su Yiyin looked at Hua Chenhuan, who was slightly tilting his head and not daring to look at her. She realized in hindsight that he was shy. Su Yiyin could not help but laugh at this thought. However, she had to force herself not to laugh out loud. If she could not help but laugh out loud, Hua Xiaofeng would become angry from embarrassment. She would not be able to see such a cute side of him in the future. Chapter 398. Hua Chenhuan tried hard to suppress the heat in his lower body and changed the topic awkwardly. "What are you going to do? The test results haven't come out yet. Even if we send these out now, some people will not believe it. They will think that we are deliberately dragging others into the water to prove our innocence." Hua Chenhuan thought for a while. "Since we have to wait for the results to come out, we might as well take this time to find your uncle." "My uncle?" Although Lu Dachui is not smart, it took him some effort to write that letter. In the letter, he reported that your restaurant added illegal drugs to the food. Although it's not illegal, it's a fact that you added drugs to your food. It's hard to guarantee that some people won't use this as an excuse to make a fuss. Hua Chenhuan glanced at his little wife. "Your Chinese herbs have all been tested by the Research Institute. They know better than anyone how effective they are." Su Yiyin suddenly understood. Their restaurant's explanation might not be enough, but if they added the Research Institute's proof, it could indeed shut most people's mouths. As for why they chose her uncle to help them, it was because of her grandfather after all. Old Master Cheng and his wife were the backbone of the research institute. Many of the people in charge of the research institute were his juniors. As their son, although Qing Juanhao did not choose the same path as his parents in the end, most of the people in charge of the research institute were his childhood playmates. It wasn't difficult to ask them to hurry up and sort out the medicinal effects of the Chinese herbs used in his shop. They could even take this opportunity to help the public popularize these Chinese herbs that had already been included in the research topic and were working hard to cultivate in order to benefit the public in the future. It could be regarded as a mutual benefit, killing two birds with one stone. You are so thoughtful. As the second largest investor of this restaurant, my uncle is obliged to do his part now that the restaurant is in trouble. I'll call him now. Su Yiyin said and was about to go to Qing Juanhao for help. Halfway through she suddenly turned back, hugged Hu Chenhuan and kissed him. Hubby, you're the most reliable one. With you around, I'm not afraid of anything. After praising him, she chuckled and happily ran off to look for him. Hu Chenhuan was stunned for a few seconds before she subconsciously reached out to touch her lips that had just been kissed. Looking at Su Yiyin's back, the corners of her mouth lifted slightly. The lovey-dovey couple did not notice that at the corner of the stairs not far away, Uncle Zhang, who was everywhere, was staring at the young couple. He had a gratified smile on his face, as if his own pig had finally learned how to eat cabbage. The relationship between the young master and the young madam was really good. She believed that there would be good news soon. Hopefully little young master would be able to stand up by then. Then she would be able to bring little young master out to play. Although Uncle Zhang still had a smile on his face, his eyes couldn't help but turn red at the thought of that scene. Qing Juanhao had only invested a little in Su Yiyin's store and did not care much about the store. However, this matter had suddenly blown up, and he quickly caught wind of it and found out about it. When Su Yiyin contacted him, he was also about to contact her. After hearing the whole story, he agreed almost immediately to Su Yiyin's request for help. As soon as he hung up, he immediately contacted his friends in the Research Institute and asked them to help find the experts in charge of the Chinese herbs research and clarify the matter. Chapter 399. Many people in the Research Institute had heard that Su Yiyin had used these Chinese herbs to open a medicinal cuisine restaurant. Although many people felt that her actions were too wasteful, these things belonged to someone else after all. It was already very good that she was willing to donate them. If they continued to criticize her and control how she used them, it would be unreasonable. Moreover, the purpose of discovering the use of these herbs was to nourish the human body and allow people who had been tortured by illness to regain their health. Although Su Yiyin's actions were selfish, they did benefit the public. Most people agreed with her in their hearts. Therefore, when they heard the whole story from their colleagues, many people could not help but feel a little angry. Just as Hu Chenhuan said, the Chinese herbs used by Su Yiyin had been tested in the Research Institute. She could be considered half an insider. Wasn't bullying Su Yiyin so blatantly the same as bullying the people in the Research Institute? As a research department that was xenophobic and protective of its own people, the researchers in charge of this area immediately said that this was a small problem. As long as the inspection department released the specific data, they would follow up and clarify. Su Yiyin breathed a sigh of relief when she received a positive reply. Next, they just had to wait for the final test results of the samples that were taken back. With Qin Yang around, the few people who took the samples did not dare to fool around. The test that originally took 4 to 5 days to complete was given the results on the 3rd day. The herbs used in Su Yiyin's shop were all grown in her system space. The quality was naturally much better than those grown outside. Therefore, most of the medicinal cuisine in her shop had reduced the amount of medicine or diluted it. Even so, the effectiveness was still amazing. The inspection department took a lot of samples. The list was enough to fill a piece of paper. The rows of reports were dazzling. Some people who were not very patient could not take it after reading a few lines. They clamored to find a class representative. In the end, a class representative who knew about this jumped out to clear their doubts. At the beginning, he said a lot of technical terms that they could not understand. In the end, he gave an easy-to-understand summary. To put it simply, there are indeed drugs added to the food. However, these drugs are not good for the body. In fact, not only are they not harmful to people who are sick, they even have a certain therapeutic effect. With this explanation, the keyboard warriors who had been scolding Su Yiyin, the internet celebrity food anchor, and the carnival restaurant for treating human lives like grass, were all stunned. Did they scold the wrong person? Some of the people who realized that they might have been led astray shut their mouths silently. Some of the people who hadn't reacted and felt that they had been slapped in the face were angry. They really insisted on the point of adding drugs to the food and continued scolding. Not long ago, when the entire internet was blacklisted, some people wanted to fish in troubled waters to gain popularity. One after another, they stood up and said that they felt unwell after eating the food in the Eater restaurant and were hospitalized. This proved that the Eater restaurant was a black-hearted restaurant. Of course, such comments were completely discredited when the Research Institute personally came to the scene and took out the certificate of detailed explanation of all the medicinal herbs used in Su Yiyan's shop. Research Institute. All the herbs in the Carnival Hall are recorded in the Research Institute. They do have some medicinal value. It can be added to food and has a therapeutic effect on patients with symptoms. Chapter 400. What the F***CK? Was this considered official certification? The onlookers were dumbfounded. The keyboard warriors and water army who had previously criticized Su Yiyan's restaurant for adding medicine to the food were all dumbfounded. Who told them that even the Research Institute was involved in such a vicious business competition? What was the background of this small medicinal cuisine restaurant, or rather, this small internet celebrity? The faces of those who had previously criticized Su Yiyan were swollen, but the audience and fans in Su Yiyan's live broadcast room could finally hold their heads high. Those who scolded the host before stopped playing dead. How does it feel to be slapped in the face by the officials with such foul mouths? I'm dying of laughter. Those who have watched the host's previous live broadcast know that the host doesn't make pure delicacies, but medicinal cuisine. Do you know what medicinal cuisine is? Medicinal cuisine was a combination of medicinal herbs and natural ingredients. It could satisfy one's appetite and nourish one's body. Those who didn't even understand this and just used the fact that medicine was added to the food to criticize, I can tell that they are brainless followers or water army. I worship the above poster. I can tell that they are die-hard fans of the host's live broadcast room. I thought it was strange before. The test results haven't come out yet, so why are there so many people acting as internet law officers and directly convicting the host? Now it seems that those who scolded the host are either keyboard warriors or water army. Those who scolded the host before all owe the host an apology. Yes, apologize. I remember that someone said that if the food in the host's restaurant was fine, he would do a live broadcast while standing upside down to pee. Brothers and sisters, help me find it. There's no need to find it. I've taken a screenshot. It's this guy. He's changed his name quickly, but I've been watching him for a long time. The monk can run away from the temple. Well done. Well done. Su Yiyan's supporters finally had a chance to make a comeback. Naturally, they wouldn't let go of this opportunity to settle scores. Those who had scolded more fiercely than anyone else before were now as quiet as chickens, wanting to play dead until the end. However, the person who had led the charge to scold Su Yiyan and swore an oath didn't have it so easy. He was directly used as a model. This person was also someone who would not give up until all hope was gone. Seeing that his name was still being displayed even after he had changed it, he became even angrier. Although the Research Institute said that these drugs can be added to the food, they also said that it can only be used to treat the illness. Firstly, there was no doctor in this restaurant. Secondly, it didn't have a medical license. What was the point of pretending to be a fatty? He was simply trying to please the crowd with claptrap, and he was just asking to be humiliated. No matter what, the fact that this shop killed someone is solid proof. No matter how you brainless fans try to wash it, it's all rubbish. The counterattacking fans were infuriated by his words, but when they thought of the issue of eating people dead, they didn't know how to refute him. Fortunately, Su Yiyan didn't make things difficult for them for too long. Su Yiyan posted 4 posts in a row. One of them was to explain why his restaurant was temporarily closed and why he had been reported. Once the report from the inspection department came out, there were no more problems. The second post was probably a reply to this troublesome blogger. He posted a bunch of documents needed to open a restaurant, as well as the medical license that he had requested from Yi Qiuyang. It basically refuted his claim that there was no doctor in charge, no medical license, and that adding drugs to the food to make medicinal cuisine wasn't the so-called puffing oneself up at one's own cost. Chapter 401. When the onlookers and even the audience and fans saw this, their hearts also settled down. Just as they were thinking about whether they should throw these proofs at someone's face, they saw a third post. Yen Yen onlooker. Regarding the recent frequent incidents of people coming to our shop to cause trouble, here is a summary of the explanation. First, a week ago, a middle-aged woman came to our shop at around 4:30 in the afternoon, claiming that she had eaten a medicinal cuisine in our shop at noon and had a stomachache. She suspected that the food in our shop was not clean and demanded compensation and an apology. Friends who have watched my live stream and come to our shop should know that our shop implements a system of personal reservation in advance. After confirming that the reservation number matches the person's identity, only then can they eat. Our shop staff asked the other party to show their order information and receipt, but the other party refused to cooperate. Helpless, our shop staff could only call the police. After that, we received feedback from the police and found that we did not receive this woman at all that afternoon. Supporting this clarification was the real-time video of the woman coming to cause trouble and being taken away by the police after making a scene, as well as the proof issued by the police after that. It was reasonable and irrefutable. Even if there were still some conspiracy theorists who felt that what Su Yiyan said could be faked, most people still chose to believe it. Next, 3 days later, which is about 4 days ago, a man came to our shop to make a purchase. During the purchase, he claimed that he found cockroaches in the food in our shop. After that, he retrieved the surveillance footage and found that he had brought in the cockroaches himself. The best evidence was the surveillance footage that scared the man away that day. After seeing this video, the keyboard warriors who were still ready to make a move fell silent. This was a proper pig teammate. Finally, 3 days ago, the middle-aged man who claimed that my shop's medicinal cuisine killed people. After the incident, we have investigated his identity and confirmed that he had made 2 purchases in our shop. Many keyboard warriors who had already wanted to give up saw this and their eyes lit up. Immediately, a glimmer of hope rose in their hearts. However, the second half of Su Yiyan's explanation completely annihilated their hopes. According to what he said, his mother, an old lady in her 70s, unfortunately passed away after eating the medicinal cuisine in our shop. There are 2 fatal points to this statement. First, before this, I have repeatedly emphasized that customers who come to our shop will not take orders. I will only make private medicinal cuisine for you. This medicinal cuisine is suitable for your body and can only be eaten by you. You cannot give it to others. Otherwise, you will bear the consequences. This point was highlighted in my previous posts, the precautions outside of the shop and the flyers in the shop. However, this customer privately packed it and took it away for his family. This makes me very suspicious of his motive. Therefore, accompanied by the police, we went to the hospital where this gentleman's mother's mother passed away. The report clearly shows that the patient's liver has a very serious condition. A month ago, she was issued a notice of critical illness. At that time, the doctor estimated that her internal organs would gradually fail in the next half a month until she died. Many people could not help but burst into an uproar when they saw this. This was an old man who had been given a death notice a long time ago. Now that he was dead, he wanted the restaurant to take responsibility. Wasn't this extortion? Chapter 402. There were also some more attentive people who saw the loophole in Su Yiyan's words. A month ago, it was predicted that the old lady would die in half a month. Why did he wait until recently to cause trouble? Could it be that this man's reflexes were too slow, so he decided to come and extort people a week later? This doubt was quickly answered in the following explanation. Interestingly, when we were investigating the old lady's cause of death, we accidentally learned from her attending doctor that the old lady's organ failure was due to a hereditary disease in her family. This hereditary disease was naturally passed on to her son. The old lady's condition completely deteriorated a month ago, but not long after that, the old lady's condition unexpectedly improved a little. However, in the end she still couldn't beat the disease and passed away a week ago. Su Yiyan added a meaningful sentence at the end. After that, we pulled out the records of this gentleman's consumption in our store twice. The first time was 20 days ago and the other time was half a month ago. This explanation came to an abrupt end, leaving plenty of room for imagination for the onlookers. As it turned out, after obtaining the necessary evidence, anyone could quickly become Sherlock Holmes. A month ago, the old lady who was predicted to die in half a month unexpectedly lived for an extra week. Su Yiyan also said that the restaurant repeatedly emphasized that the medicinal cuisine in the restaurant could only be eaten by the customer and could not be given to others. However, the old lady's son said that the old lady had eaten the restaurant's medicinal cuisine before her death. Could it be that he already knew that he had the same hereditary disease as the old lady and knew that the old lady could eat what he could eat? If that was the case, wasn't the reason the old lady was able to live for an extra week because of the restaurant's medicinal cuisine? Thinking of this, many people couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. People said that 1,000 gold couldn't buy a minute and a second. It meant that no matter how much money you earned, whether you were a rich man or a beggar, when faced with death, even 1,000 gold couldn't buy time to let you continue to live. But now, an old man who was seriously ill and on the verge of death had survived for an extra week just because he ate a medicinal meal. Even if this medicinal cuisine couldn't make people immortal, it was enough to let those who were seriously ill and helpless see a glimmer of hope. Some people even boldly guessed that although it was the same hereditary disease, the old lady's illness was definitely more serious than the son's. The medicinal cuisine given to the son had already improved her condition. If the dosage was increased, would it be possible to cure her? This speculation was enough to shock people, but it wasn't enough to stop some people's crazy thinking. The old lady's condition improved not long after the doctor notified her of her critical condition. During this time, her son did consume the medicinal cuisine at the restaurant. It was very likely that she had eaten the medicinal cuisine this time. Then, what about the medicinal cuisine for the second consumption after half a month? Did the old lady eat the medicinal cuisine this time as well? Then why did she still die? Was it that she didn't eat it? But if she didn't eat it, where did the medicinal cuisine go? Or rather, who ate it? The answer was obvious. BBB. To enjoy to eat to the end. And then he. Chapter 403. This last piece of melon made everyone's mood fluctuate. They scratched their ears and cheeks, wishing they could go through the screen and grab Su Yiyan's shoulder and shake it. Ask her, did they guess correctly? Was the truth what they thought it was? It was too painful to be stuck halfway through the melon. F***ck, is this man still human? He's King Filial's son. Isn't he afraid of retribution for using his own mother to test medicine? Although it's quite pitiful to have inherited a disease, there's really no way to wash away the fact that he's testing for poison. That's your own mother. If you gave her the medicinal cuisine twice and still couldn't save her, you could still say that you're filial. But if you gave her the first time and didn't give her the second time, then you're undoubtedly testing for poison. The most disgusting thing is that the restaurant saved you. Not only are you not grateful, but you're also trying to extort them. Has your conscience been fed to the dogs? Above, I seriously suspect that this man gave his mother the medicinal cuisine in the first place to test for poison. In addition, I have an extremely terrifying guess. This man might have been impatient with this old mother who needs him to support her. At first, he saw that she was about to die, so he didn't feel any pressure using her to test the poison. Later, when he found out that it was really useful, he probably regretted it. The second time he got the medicinal cuisine, he quickly ate it himself and let this big trouble fend for itself. F***ck, after hearing what the above poster said, I also feel that it's really scary. It had to be said that the netizens' brains were quite big, but it was precisely because of this that they could accidentally find a corner of the truth. This unfilial son, who was at the center of the topic and condemned by countless people, was also constantly paying attention to the direction of the wind on the internet because the latter half of the benefits promised by a certain someone had yet to be delivered. When he saw Su Yiyan's first two posts, he had a premonition that things were going to get worse. Sure enough, when he saw Su Yiyan's third post talking about him, the man almost fainted on the spot. On one hand, he was extremely terrified, and on the other, he couldn't help but complain about the hospital that had treated his mother. Didn't the internet say that the hospital had to keep the patient's condition confidential and couldn't disclose the patient's condition to others without permission? Why did this hospital disclose his and his mother's condition in such detail? Damn it. He was going to sue them. He was going to sue them until they went bankrupt. The man thought fiercely, but forgot that although the hospital had the duty to keep the patient confidential, it also had the obligation to cooperate with the police to investigate the case. You've created such a big mess and you still expect others to keep it a secret and clean up your mess? Who gave you the confidence to do that? The man looked at the various speculations about his mother's death online and the curses and attacks directed at him as an unfilial son. He was in an extremely bad mood. Some people were just like that. When they did something they felt that it was only right and proper. They didn't feel that they had done anything wrong, but in fact, they also knew that their actions would attract bad publicity. And when this infamy was confirmed, he would be unable to stop his anger and would constantly find excuses to absolve himself of the crime. That old woman was going to die anyway. What was wrong with helping her before she died? He was her biological son. Wasn't that what she should do? On the other hand, these people who were scolding him had nothing to do with him or his mother. What right did they have to scold him? They didn't need these outsiders to meddle in their family affairs. The man was full of dissatisfaction and anger, but in reality, it was just to hide the fear and uneasiness in his heart. He didn't dare to imagine what would happen if his neighbors found out about this. What would they think of him? How would he live in the future? Chapter 404. The netizens who criticized him didn't care what he thought. After that, they even found a depressing entry point from this matter. Am I the only one who focuses on the wrong thing? Am I jealous of this scumbag of a son? I've already made reservations in the streamer's restaurant several times, but they were all months away. This person not only made an appointment, but also made 2 reservations in a month. I'm so jealous. Yes, I'm jealous too. My family's internet wasn't good before, so I couldn't make a reservation for the streamer's medicinal cuisine. Now it's actually half a year later. Woo, I strongly request the streamer to increase the number of reservations. I strongly request the streamer to improve the limit function. For example, a single person can only make a reservation once a month. Give the masses a chance to live. This message quickly received countless likes and occupied the high ground of the comment section. This time, those who had made reservations or even made reservations several times, couldn't take it anymore. What? Whether you can make a reservation or not depends on your own ability. Isn't it natural that you're late and are at the back of the line? Why should we make way for you? Yes, you're the only one who needs the streamer's medicinal cuisine. Don't we need it? I hate this kind of weak and reasonable tone the most. If you can make a reservation, then make an appointment. If you can't make a reservation, then shut up. You even want the streamer to give you the green light. Do you think you're the streamer's staff? Both sides thought that they were right, and they were on the verge of exploding into a heated argument. Fortunately, Su Yiyan didn't let them argue for too long. Soon he brought another big melon and let them join the melon-eating team again. They forgot about their jealousy. Yin, regarding the events of the past few days, I'd like to make a summary statement. Our company has filed a lawsuit against the rumor monger XXX for the crime of blackmail. In addition, we've also sued everyone on the list below for the crime of wantonly spreading rumors and leading public opinion to attack the reputation of our restaurant. Finally, regarding Man Lu Xiang's boss, Lu Dachui, bribing our customers, maliciously spreading rumors, slandering, and even reporting our restaurant, our company has filed a lawsuit against Lu Dachui and Man Lu Xiang, and the relevant departments have accepted it. Smile. JPG? This bombshell directly blew up the melon-eating audience who were watching the show with relish. They could understand the first 2 cases, but what about Man Lu Xiang and Lu Dachui? Vicious competition? The streamer and Lu Dachui or Man Lu Xiang in dining hall? Then he looked at the pile of evidence at the bottom. There was Lu Dachui bribing the internet water army, communicating with the 3 troublemakers, paying them to tarnish the reputation of the restaurant, causing trouble to claim compensation, and screenshots of the 3 troublemakers' bank accounts. Lu Dachui even proudly showed off his intelligence to his employees, saying that he had only used a little trick to ruin the reputation of the restaurant. He even said that he would see who would dare to steal his business in the future. After listening to the audio, how could everyone not understand what had happened a few days ago? Many passers-by who had been led astray to become keyboard warriors also realized that they had been used as a tool. The anger and shame of being fooled were all directed at the black-hearted businessman, the culprit behind all of this. In an instant, the positions of Lu Dachui and his restaurant, and Su Yiyan and her medicinal cuisine restaurant, suddenly reversed. They became the sacrificial lambs for a new round of online criticism. Su Yiyin and her medicinal cuisine restaurant not only washed away the dirty water that had been poured on them previously, but they also gained a lot of sympathy and pity by stepping on Lu Dachui. Chapter 405. When the fire started, Lu Dachui was still feeling complacent in his own restaurant. It was as if he could already see the restaurant closing down and his restaurant returning to a bustling scene. In his opinion, this so-called online streamer was just a lucky bastard who relied on the protection of his ancestors to get into the research institute. To put it bluntly, he was just a good-for-nothing second generation who posed no threat at all. Lu Dachui was not stupid. He only dared to mess with him because he saw him as a pushover. As for how he saw him as a pushover, of course, it was because of Su Yiyin's identity as an online streamer. If he really had a powerful family background, why would he go to such a small website to become an online streamer? Did rich people have nothing better to do? However, he obviously had not heard of the saying, if you walk too much at night, you will always run into ghosts. It was not until he was taken away by the police and his restaurant was closed indefinitely that Lu Dachui realized that he had kicked an iron plate. Li Dachui was not the only one who was really unlucky. Yu Chaoshua was a family member who did not do any proper work at home. He had an elite white-collar elder sister and a younger sister who relied on her own abilities to get into a famous university. As the only son in the family, Yu Chaoshua grew up spoiled. He was taught from a young age that everything in the family belonged to him. In the future, his sister's things would also belong to him. His parents' preference for boys also affected Yu Chaoshua imperceptibly, causing him to develop a self-righteous temperament. After graduation, he simply stayed at home and relied on his elder sister. This kind of life was originally quite happy. However, 3 years ago, his sister finally could not stand the family's blood-sucking behavior and completely cut ties with their family. Ever since his sister graduated and started working, his parents quit their jobs and focused on sucking his sister's blood. When his sister left, the whole family directly lost their financial lifeline. It was not that Yu Chaoshua's parents did not think of going to his sister's company to make trouble. If it were an ordinary person, his sister would not be able to keep her job. However, the key was that his sister's boyfriend at the time was the son of the company's CEO. Not only did they not threaten their eldest daughter, but they also brought back bad names. Yu Chaoshua's life changed drastically. In order to maintain their daily lives, his parents asked their youngest daughter to drop out of school and work. But because of the elder daughter, the younger daughter also had a rebellious heart. She was disheartened by the family and stayed at the school on a part-time basis, never returning home. Yu Chaoshua's parents had already taken out all their savings to buy a house for him in the future. Now, without his sister's income, the family's daily life had become a problem. Yu Chaoshua's girlfriend broke up with him directly after she found out. This young master had no choice but to face up to the situation at home and began to look for a job. However, he had been spoiled since he was young. He was not good at studying and did not learn any technical skills. They could only find some physical work, but they found it too tiring. Every time they would quit after a few days. They couldn't even get their previous salary. Since his life was not going well, he could only become a keyboard warrior on the internet. He kept cursing those glamorous stars and successful people to vent his dissatisfaction and depression. Who would have thought that his actions would create a notorious nickname that everyone in the entertainment industry knew about? Chapter 406. This account was a famous *T stirrer in the industry. He was not a fan of anyone, but he could be a hater of everyone. At first, he scolded people on the internet just to vent his anger, but it didn't take long for him to realize that scolding people not only brought him satisfaction, but also attracted attention and fans. No matter how outstanding a celebrity was, there would always be a group of anti-fans. These people would come out to scold the celebrity when he was proud, and even more so when the celebrity fell, they would come out to trample on him. And the person who scolded the most would often get a certain amount of attention and be crowned. Yu Chaoshua got some benefits from this and started to attract these anti-fans. After that, his appetite grew and he started to think about how to attract those true fans. For this reason, he started to play schizophrenia on the internet. Sometimes, he scolded people so much that he wanted to dig up the graves of the other party's ancestors. Then he would turn around and flatter the same person. Some people concluded that he once split into more than 10 personalities on the internet at once, and comments like, "I scold myself," and "I beat myself" were endless. However, no one could do anything to him. They could only watch as he stirred up trouble and disgusted people. Because of his terrible reputation, there were actually many people who contacted him privately and paid him to help stir up trouble, smear the reputation of some famous artists in the industry, or with his help, self-directed abuse of a wave of fans. Yu Chaoshua was a little arrogant to be able to scold people and get paid. Some of his actions on the internet were getting more and more out of line. Su Yiyin and her medicinal cuisine restaurant were named to be smeared by his employer this time. Yu Chaoshua was cautious and conscientious. In the past few days he had scolded Su Yiyin and her medicinal cuisine restaurant. Usually, when he scolded, the person in question would lose some fans, especially this time when it was involved in a murder case. However, the audience in Su Yiyin's live broadcast room was more loyal than the celebrity's fans, and their fighting power was not ordinary. Yu Chaoshua had been in the industry for a long time, but this was the first time he was pushed to the ground. In a fit of anger, he set up a flag that said, "If this restaurant is really innocent, I'll do a live broadcast of myself peeing upside down." In the end, who would have thought that this restaurant, which had been scolded all over the internet, would really rebound and turn things around in an instant? Yu Chaoshua panicked. He immediately changed his account name and pretended not to respond. He had thought that he would be able to get away with it as long as he pretended to be dead, like he had done many times before.